as a performer and as a fan, believe it or not, I really did. They were going very slowly at one point. It was toward the end of when Vince Russo was
90 seconds.
And Bruce was taking over.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, hold on. Since we're down to 90 seconds on the live cast feed, and then we'll go to VIP After Show, let's take our last caller of the day who's been on hold a while on 925. I want to squeeze you in before the end of the show here, and then after that we'll go to VIP After Show for our members. Go ahead, 925. Please state your name and where you're from.
Hey, this is Vito. I'm from Chicago. What's up, guys?
Nothing. Zito, thanks for calling. What have you got for Matt Morgan?
Hey, it's Vito. Absolutely. Hey, Matt, what's up, man? You're like my favorite wrestler of all time, man. I can't believe
60 seconds.
Vito, I appreciate it. My paisan.
Absolutely. I got a serious question for you. How big is your penis?
It depends. Are we talking on a lucid day, or are we talking about when it's aroused?
All right, no sell, Matt. Let's squeeze in area code 301.
That's a loaded question. I demand the answer. No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
All right, 301. We got time for you. Please state your name and where you're from.
Please hang up and try again.
She was living in a single room with 3 other individuals. One of them was a male, and the other 2, well, the other 2 were females. God only knows what they were up to in there. And furthermore, Susan, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to learn that all 4 of them habitually smoke marijuana cigarettes. Reefers.
Everything's corrupt, everything's fucked up, everything's by to fuck me shit out of luck. Everything's corrupt, everything's fucked up, everything's by to fuck me shit out of luck. Go to school, the teacher wanna fuck the students. Go to church, my preacher turned to prostitution. The prosecution never read my files. That evil ass judge fell asleep at my trial. This shit is wild. Chickens getting sick as the cows. Birds falling out the sky, fish dying in piles. It's fishy. Politicians smell like my bowels. Talking that shit, really cramping my styles. I got many. Now I'm pinching pennies, no doubt. I squeezed Lincoln so hard, a fucking booger came out. It's a shame. I used to be on top of my game. They took the shirt off my back and replaced it with chains. I met Mr. Lee Harvey from the Tea Party. He used to hate Obama till he felt Hurricane Charlie looking for his FEMA check. It's gone with the wind. When them dicks is in, you know the fix is in.
For my birthday, buy me a politician. It's a shame that you got to teach the children.
Everything's corrupt, everything's fucked up, everything's bout to fuck me shit out of luck.
For my birthday, buy me a politician. It's a shame that you got to teach the children.
Everything's corrupt, everything's fucked up, everything's bout to fuck me shit out of luck.
Monday Night Live.
Yes, it is Monday night from 8 to 11 p.m. Central Time. It is In the Rotation, live on Spreaker.com. I'm your host, Ben Jordan, along with my co-host, Vito Tomaselli. In the sidecars, as usual, Paulie Tomaselli and Professor Mike Brooks. For the next 3 hours, we will be entertaining you till you can't take it anymore. From 8 to 11 every week on Spreaker.com. You can also go back and check out all the archives on Spreaker.com as well, all previous 62 episodes. It is episode 63, Former Black Guys. If you heard episode 62, you understand why it is called Former Black Guys, and we will demand that you go back and listen to it to get the joke. Otherwise, you're shit out of luck, or maybe we'll tell you in a little bit. But we do have themed breaks coming up today. Both Vito and I have themes, the theme of Former Black Guys in our breaks today. So you're going to hear four songs from Former Black Guys right here on In the Rotation tonight. As always, our sponsors, we want to thank them. Death Grip Clothing. Check them out at deathgripclothing.com. Two Fat Guys Barbecue Sauce. I love twofatguys.com. And Paulie Tomaselli's Gear Marks. Check them out. Facebook.com/Paulie.Tomaselli. Hit them up if you are a trash bag wrestler out there and you need quality made gear. Hit up the Gear Mark over there.
Free shipping when you mention ITR Live.
There you go. Straight from the horse's mouth, ladies and gentlemen. Free shipping if you mention ITR Live. As always, we start every show, Vito, with the green hit. What do you got rattling around in your head, bud?
If you're not listening to it, you need to be listening to it. Wow, I don't think I ever came in before the song was over. Anyways, yes, you need to be listening to the Steve Austin podcast.
It's kind of funny that you said if you're not listening to it, you should be listening to it, because he used to always say, if you don't know, you should know. I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Get those nerds, man!
You're a nerd, Brandon.
Yes, I am.
You're a fucking nerd.
Yes, I am.
Get those nerds, man!
Anyways, if you're not listening to it, you need to be listening to it. It's not even for the wrestling stuff. He's just a funny guy, and he talks like today. I listened to episode, I think it was 7 or something, and he was he had a pro wrestling match with a fly. And the fly flew into his room first and sat on his microphone. He started cutting a promo on the fly, and he was all pissed off. You could tell he's like drunk down in fucking Mexico when he's doing this, by the way. And
he lives in Mexico?
No, he was filming Redneck Island, so he's doing it from there. And he first started out talking about flies. He's so smart. And I don't know if he has somebody helping him or not, but he kind of tells you about flies and why flies are this, because he was just interested to learn about it. So he started telling you about it. And then a fly lands on his thing, and the fly starts talking to him, but it's Steve Austin with like a voice thing over him, you know? So the fly talks like Steve Austin, but with a fly voice. And before you know it,
sound effect.
before you know it, he challenges him to a pro wrestling match in the greatest arena ever, which is the Rosemont Horizon. Steve Austin's words exactly.
No shit.
Mm-hmm. He said it's the greatest wrestling venue to have a pro wrestling show in ever.
It is.
Yeah, and then I wish we knew someone that could get us in over there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What you're talking about. A voice to the voiceless.
I would love to experience the WWE Universe live.
Yeah.
A voice to the voiceless.
So if you're not listening to it, you need to be. He's just awesome. And then when he interviews wrestlers, he asks the standard, how'd you get started and where was this and where was that? But he kind of already knows the answers, so he guides them in a much different path. And like they come with the stories because they're talking to Steve Austin, so they're not there to like waste anybody's fucking time. He covered Shawn Michaels' entire career in an hour. And it's just the high spots. And Shawn's all humbled these days. And when he talks about it, like he's like romanticizing a little bit about what career he had. And you hear how they didn't like each other during that whole feud. And it's just awesome. It's just really, really awesome. And it's better than any shoot tape I've ever heard in my life. And him and Nash, he did 2 hour and like 15-minute segments and then like an hour and a half segment with Kevin Nash. And I'll tell you what, man, I would pay that guy to be my neighbor. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I would pay his property taxes just to like be my next door neighbor. He's that cool. Mm-hmm. He's the coolest guy ever, I think. And his stories are always just great. And then he had Scott Hall on for like 2 hours one time, and it was just it was incredible. So
it's kind of a weird duo of Austin and Nash to be really talking because they weren't really around each other too much.
Well, he said something different. They rode the roads together, and they were on the road a lot together, and they share a shit ton of road stories from when it was just the two of them, and how they shared shitty hotel rooms because they didn't want to spend any of their money.
Right.
Even when they were making money, they didn't spend any money, and it's just interesting.
Together when Nash was Vinny Vegas and Oz. And Steve
True.
Austin
Okay, I wasn't thinking about. I'm thinking
then,
more of their main. Like,
and
their
then
main
early
stage.
on in WWE, when he was the ringmaster, Diesel was still there, and he was riding with Diesel at the time.
Oh,
so
okay.
It was just a different environment. It's just interesting, nevertheless, very interesting. And he interviews Samoa Joe, and he kind of gets some insights into Samoa Joe's life, which I'm not a big fan of Samoa Joe, but after hearing him, he like turned a corner about what I think about Samoa, just because when you hear anybody's story, it's told right or interviewed right. It's just great. So I don't know if you're not listening to it, you're missing out. I think it's a great podcast. They usually last about an hour, sometimes 27 minutes. So you can download them the same way you download our show. And here we go. Ben Jordan, everybody.
It is time for the recap here on In the Rotation. We do it every week. And today, folks, fellas, it's Columbus Day. Did you realize that today was Columbus Day? Anybody? Yes. Well, I remember Columbus Day only because we got off school. And I was always cool with that because it was a Monday, so you got a long weekend. So it was always cool. I never cared about Christopher Columbus or anything like that. And I realized that in the last couple of years what a complete piece of shit Christopher Columbus actually was. And so I wanted to read from the Huffington Post a great article talking about Columbus Day and should we really be celebrating the man that was Christopher Columbus. And it also tells you a little bit about how it started. So from the Huffington Post, writer Eric Kasem, he's the founder of the Imagine Institute.
That's Casey's brother. Are you aware of that?
It?
Oh, yeah, that's Casey Kasem's brother.
Ben Jordan writes.
Oh, no shit.
Ben Jordan writes.
Coming in at number 5.
Yes, from Snyder, Texas, Ben Jordan writes, Columbus Day.
Hey, Ben, but can you do me a favor? Can you do Ben, can you do the entire interview as Casey Kasem?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I don't do a very good Casey Kasem voice.
Come on, try it.
So, all right, so the headline reads Columbus Day. No. Columbus Day, true legacy, cruelty, and slavery. Yeah, whatever. You don't have to like it, but you're going to fucking listen, all right? Once again, it's time to celebrate Columbus Day. Yet the stunning truth is, really? Really? Are we going to do that the whole time? Because this is kind of a long article, so I just want to know should I just talk
He
over
sounds
it?
like Robin when she gets pissed when Fred keeps playing the Robin songs.
Yeah. All right. So, if Christopher Columbus were alive today, he would be put on trial for crimes against humanity. Columbus's reign of terror, as documented by noted historians, was so bloody, his legacy so unspeakably cruel, that Columbus makes a modern villain like Saddam Hussein look like a pale codfish. Question: why do we honor a man who, if he were alive today, would almost certainly be sitting on death row awaiting execution? If you'd like to know the true story about Christopher Columbus, please read on, and we will. But I warn you, it's not for the faint of heart. Here's the basics. On the second Monday in October each year, we celebrate Columbus Day. This year, it's today, obviously today, the 14th. We teach our school kids a cute little song that goes, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. It's an American tradition, as American as pizza pie. Or is it? Surprisingly, the true story of Christopher Columbus has very little in common with the myth we all learned in school. Columbus Day, as we know it in the United States, was invented by the Knights of Columbus, a Catholic fraternal service organization. Back in the 1930s, they were looking for a Catholic hero as a role model for their kids to look up to. In 1934, as a result of lobbying by the Knights of Columbus, Congress and President Franklin Roosevelt signed Columbus Day into law as a federal holiday to honor this courageous explorer. Or so we thought. There are several problems with this. First of all, Columbus wasn't the first European to discover America. As we all know, the Viking, Leif Erikson, probably founded a Norse village in Newfoundland some 500 years earlier. So hats off to Leif. But if you think about it, the whole concept of discovering America is, well, arrogant. After all, the Native Americans discovered North America about 14,000 years before Columbus was even born. Surprisingly, DNA evidence now suggests that courageous Polynesian adventurers sailed dugout canoes across the Pacific and settled in South America long before the Vikings. Second, Columbus wasn't a hero. When he set foot on the sandy beach in the Bahamas on October 12, 1492, Columbus discovered that the islands were inhabited by friendly, peaceful people called the Lusayans. I'm going to say this wrong. Tainos and Arawaks. Yeah, it's tribes that I have no idea how to pronounce. Writing in his diary, Columbus said they were handsome, smart, and kind people. He noted that the gentle Arawaks were remarkable for their hospitality. Quote, they offered to share with anyone, and when you ask for something, they never say no, he said. The Arawaks had no weapons. Their society had neither criminals, prisons, nor prisoners. They were so kind-hearted that Columbus noted in his diary that on the day that the Santa Maria shipwrecked, the Arawaks labored for hours to save his crew and cargo. The native people were so honest that not one thing was missing. Columbus was so impressed with the hard work of these gentle islanders that he immediately seized their land for Spain and enslaved them to work in his brutal gold mines. Within only 2 years, 125,000, half of the population, of the original natives on the island were dead. If I were a Native American, I would mark October 12, 1492 as a black day on my calendar. Shockingly, Columbus supervised the selling of native girls into sexual slavery. Young girls from the ages 9 to 10 were the most desired by his men. In 1500, Columbus casually wrote about this in his log. He said, quote, 100 castellanos are as easily obtained for a woman as for a farm, and it is very general, and there are plenty of dealers who go about looking for girls. Those from 9 to 10 are now in demand, end quote. He forced these peaceful natives to work in the gold mines until they died of exhaustion. If an quote-unquote Indian worker did not deliver his full quota of gold dust by Columbus's deadline, soldiers would cut off the man's hands and tie them around his neck to send a message. Slavery was so intolerable for these sweet, gentle island people that at one point, 100 of them committed mass suicide. Catholic law forbade the enslavement of Christians, but Columbus solved this problem. He simply refused to baptize the native people of Hispaniola. On his second trip to the New World, Columbus brought canoes and attack dogs. If a native resisted slavery, he would cut off a nose or an ear. If slaves tried to escape, Columbus would have them burned alive. Oftentimes, he sent attack dogs to hunt them down, and the dogs would tear off the man's arms and legs of the screaming natives while they were still alive. If the Spaniards ran short of meat to feed the dogs, Arawak babies were killed for dog food. Columbus's acts of cruelty were so unspeakable and so legendary, even in his own day, that Governor Francisco de Bobadilla arrested Columbus and his two brothers. And his two brothers, slapped them into chains and shipped them off to native Spain to answer for their crimes against the Arawaks. But the king and queen of Spain, their treasury filling up with gold, pardoned Columbus and let him go free. One of Columbus's men, Bartolome de las Casas, was so mortified by Columbus's brutal atrocities against the native peoples that he quit working for Columbus and became a Catholic priest. He described how the Spaniards under Columbus's command cut off the legs of children who ran from them to test the sharpness of their blades. According to de las Casas, the men made bets as to who, with one sweep of his sword, could cut a person in half. He says that Columbus's men poured people full of boiling soap. In a single day, de las Casas was an eyewitness as the Spanish soldiers dismembered, beheaded, or raped 3,000 native people. Quote, such inhumanities and barbarisms were committed in my sight as no age can parallel, de las Casas wrote. My eyes have seen these acts so foreign to human nature that I now tremble as I write. De las Casas spent the rest of his life trying to protect the helpless native people, but after a while there were no more natives to protect. Experts generally agree that before 1492, the population of the island of Hispaniola probably numbered above 3 million. Within 20 years of Spanish arrival, it was reduced to only 60,000. Within 50 years, not a single original inhabitant could be found. In 1516, Spanish historian Peter Martyr wrote, a ship without compass, chart, or guide, but only following the trail of dead Indians who had been thrown from the ships, could find its way from the Bahamas to Hispaniola. Christopher Columbus derived most of his income from slavery, de las Casas wrote. In fact, Columbus was the first slave trader in the Americas. As the native slaves died off, they were replaced with black slaves. Columbus's son became the first African slave trader in 1505. Are you surprised you never learned about any of this in school? Well, I am too. Why do we have this extraordinary gap in our American ethos? Columbus himself kept detailed diaries, as did some of his men, including de las Casas and Michel de Cuno. If you don't believe me, just Google the words Columbus, sex slave, and gold mine. Columbus's reign of terror is one of the darkest chapters in our history. The real question is, why do we celebrate a holiday in order to honor this man? Take 3 deep breaths. If you're like me, your stomach is heaving at this point. I'm sorry. Sometimes the truth hurts. That said, I'd like to turn into a more positive direction. Call me crazy, but I think the holidays ought to honor people who are worthy of our admiration, true heroes who are positive role models for our children. If we're looking for heroes we can truly admire, I'd like to offer a few candidates. Foremost among them are school kids. Let me tell you about some school kids who are changing the world. I think they are worthy of a holiday. My friend Nan Peterson is the director of the Blake School, a K-12 school, or K-12 school in Minnesota. She recently visited Kenya. Nan says that there are 33 million people in Kenya, and 11 million of them are orphans. Can you imagine that? She went to Kibera, the slum outside Nairobi, and a boy walked up to her and handed her a baby. He said, my father died, my mother died, and I'm not feeling so good myself. Here, take my sister. If I die, they will throw her into the street to die. There are so many orphans in Kenya, the baby girls are throwaways. Nan visited an orphanage for girls. The girls were starving to death. They had one old cow that gave them 1 cup of milk a day, so each girl got 1 teaspoon of milk a day. After this heartbreaking experience, Nan went home to her school in Minnesota and asked the kids, what can we do? The kids got the idea to make homemade paper and sell it to buy a cow. So they made a bunch of paper and sold the paper, and when they were done, they had enough money to buy 4 cows and enough food to feed all of the cows for 1 full year. These are kids from 6 years old to 18, saving lives of kids halfway around the world. And I thought, if a 6-year-old could do that, what could I do? Let me ask you a question. Would we celebrate Columbus Day if the story of Christopher Columbus were told from the point of view of the victims? No way. The truth about Columbus is going to be a hard pill for some folks to swallow. Please don't think that I'm picking on Catholics. All the Catholics I know are wonderful people. I'm not with this guy, but
not all of them.
Not all of them. I don't want to take away their holiday or their hero, but if we're looking for a Catholic our kids can admire, the Catholic Church has many, many amazing people we could name the holiday after. Let's come clean. Let's tell the truth about Christopher Columbus. Let's boycott this outrageous holiday because it honors a mass murderer. If we skip the cute song in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, I don't think our first graders would miss it much. Do you? True Columbus is brutal. The treatment of peaceful Native Americans was so horrific. Maybe we should hide the truth about Columbus from our kids, reach at least high school age. Let's teach it to them about the same time we tell them about the Nazi death camps. I'm not so sure about that either. But yeah, these people were not adventurers who discovered an island in the Caribbean. They were noble souls who discovered what is best in the human spirit. So I actually skipped over some stuff there. But yeah, I mean, that just gives you an idea. Christopher Columbus, I don't know that, knowing all that, how can you name a holiday after that guy in good conscience? You know what I mean?
You can't.
It's pretty brutal. I mean, and it's like I said, this is not like this is, hearsay about Christopher Columbus. These are from his own journals of what he said he did to these people. It's awful. Can you imagine in 50 years, 3 million people completely wiped out? That's amazing.
Yeah, you never know, man. The story is not as much fun the way you read it, though. It's just so much more fun that this man got on a couple boats and they came over here and they found this place, and then they gave the locals who weren't real because they didn't find it blankets, and then they had Thanksgiving, and now here we are. That's a much better story. Yeah.
You forgot that the blankets had smallpox on it.
No, we're not talking about that. It's got nothing to do with anything. Or the fact that we killed all the bison. That had nothing to do with any of that.
No.
Nothing. So yeah, there's the repack. A little bit of, today being Columbus Day, I figured we're all about exposing the truth here on in the rotation. So let's expose the truth about Columbus Day.
Sure, certainly. Yeah, I mean, it's all of our great stories are bullshit. So. That's
they're
just
not
the way
so
it is.
great when you look a little bit deeper into them. And it just goes, and it brings up the whole other topic of what the hell are we teaching our kids in school? If we're not teaching them the truth about this, it's so disappointing.
We should give our sister a call and see what she teaches.
Yeah, school's bullshit. I mean, you need it. You need to know how to do stuff, but it's bullshit on the surface. They just, the winners choose the stories.
I would be curious as to what Lisa teaches when it comes to Columbus Day. Like, what does she teach?
Well, she teaches kindergartners, so I'm sure that little fast forward that I just said is the extent of it.
Kindergarten, huh? Did you know that kindergarten didn't exist in the United States until the early 50s?
Really? Nazi Germany parties or what?
Oh, did you know that kindergarten is a German word?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm telling you, if you go back in our history,
with a big American flag and the Pledge of Allegiance every day, right when your skull is nice and mushy for indoctrination.
Yes.
What was that? What was that operation we were talking about last week? Operation Paperclip.
That's all bullshit, Brooks. That's all bullshit. It's conspiracy theories.
Okay, I'm just saying that there aren't these lines being drawn. They're imaginary lines, much like the ones on a map.
Exactly. And the Federal Reserve turns 100 years. So there you go.
We haven't even mentioned the goddamn government shutdown, but I mean, who cares?
What's there really to talk about? You know what, man? I'm telling you, and I'm just saying it now. I believe the Republicans did the government shutdown because in the next election, they're going to use that as, look, we told you this was going to be shit, and we shut the government down because of it. Vote for us. This is going to be a huge talking point come 2016.
Why would shutting down the government be something that people would then vote for them for?
Because I think that this, of course, but I'm saying in their mind that this is going to be a bad thing over time. The Obamacare is going to be a bad thing come 2016 in their minds, and I think they're going to use that as a talking point. Nothing's done without a political agenda.
They're doing everything they can to sabotage. That's for sure.
Absolutely, and I think it might. There's a chance, and it depends on. Honestly, it depends on what people like us and people who share our points of view do in the upcoming years, and try to foster a conversation with people who aren't like-minded about different options when it comes time to cast that all-important vote. It's people like us who are already enlightened. We're just having a conversation. We're preaching to the choir here. Mm-hmm. I'm not telling Brandon anything he already probably doesn't support or anything like that, right? And whoever's listening, if they're listening to get a viewpoint, or they're probably like-minded, and we love our listeners. But it's up to us. Now, this is what they meant by being a responsible American. We can't complain if we don't go out and try to talk about, hey, Gary Johnson. Let's talk about Gary Johnson. Who's that? Well, let me explain who Gary Johnson is. This is what he's for. Blah 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 blah. Well, that sounds great. What do I do? Vote.
Nothing. Nothing. You go back and vote for Barack Obama. Have a good day.
Yeah,
Obama. You can't vote for Barack Obama this next time, but I know what you're saying.
I'm talking about the last election with Gary Johnson.
To listen to the conversation, or at least have the conversation now that they've seen, like, really, these people, either one of them don't have our backs. Neither side, that this Republican Democrat split, then neither one of those groups are for me, the little guy right here, mom and pop middle class, making that $40,000 to $70,000 a year in suburbia. Now might be the time for us to really kind of ramp up just that stranger conversation of just like there's other choices out there.
Ventura
Exactly.
Stern.
That's where I think Jesse Ventura, as crazy as it sounds, I know a lot of people are turned off by him, but if you just shut it off, unfortunately he has such a voice that everyone recognizes immediately that you can't just say, okay, just listen to this guy and don't know who he is. Just listen to what he's saying, and I bet you agree with a lot of what he says, but his voice is so distinguished that surely you can't possibly find anyone that doesn't know what Jesse Ventura sounds like at this point. But that guy's a reasonable option. He really is a reasonable option if you're looking for someone that is not part of the system at all, or at least appears to not be part of the system. Because as much as I want to believe he's not, you never know if he's just part of the system and in his own weird way, or will become part of the system if he were elected. But you'd like to hope that a guy like Jesse Ventura would stand behind what he says when he makes all these public appearances and these TV and radio appearances.
I think a lot of people look at Ventura as a joke just because he was a pro wrestler, and I think they're going to get nothing but like wrestling promos in the debates and things like that.
It's not only that reason; it's the idea that whenever he gets announced, he's announced as that fake former wrestler. Oh yeah, and Navy SEAL.
The former governor.
Yeah, they just comb over it, But he's got enough backing him, and I don't know. I think he would get about as much support as Gary Johnson and Ron Paul got coming in a few years from now too. It's just. America's not ready to fucking get out of this two-party system. They're just not.
Two parties.
Are you sure? Because this is a big deal going on right now.
Dude, but hold on. You got to realize we're in the minority, man. And then the other people that are like us, they don't give a shit either way. So the people that actually give a shit, they still like the two-party system because it's their team. It's their team that's going to win this thing. It's fucking lame. And voting sucks anyway, so...
Well,
yeah, the whole voting
system.
I
want things to change. I'm not going to work to change it.
Bullshit. I voted last time, so I did try to work to change it. I tried to get part of that above 5% that didn't happen. So.
Right, but that doesn't mean you give up because now you're being crushed by the system.
No, I'm talking about reality. I'm not talking about myself. I'm saying in reality. You're saying that a lot of people are fed up with it, which I totally agree. But it doesn't mean it's going to fucking change.
Yeah, that's why we have to keep the conversation alive.
I'm one of those people. Yeah, but I'm one of those people that I probably won't vote again in 2016 because I believe that it's a broken system and that my vote doesn't matter and it won't affect any change because the wheels are set in motion already, and the system is so broken and flawed and needs to be overhauled. But that's just I won't participate.
But Ben, if you believe enough in like a Jesse Ventura, if he's on the ticket, are you not going to go out and vote for him?
My water park. This was our land, our dream, and they've taken it all away. They just keep coming and coming. Minority. I tried to go and tell the police, but even the authorities are minorities at my water park. There's no place for me to sit anymore, and the lines just keep getting crazier. There are Mexicans all around me. The lazy river has never been lazier. It's a 40-minute wait to go down one slot, and the instructions are in Spanish on the zip line ride.
Carle sus brazos y piernas dentro del paseo.
Just do it in English. There are too many minorities. Too many at my water park. Somebody do something. Where did they all come from? Why can't they leave this land alone? And it's such a tragedy. Feel bad like dying. We look the other way too long. We've got to change our priorities and get all these minorities out of my water park. Minorities, Mexicans and Asians, black people. I think I even saw Native American. Gross. God, I'm asking, please get all of these minorities out of my water park.
So there you go.
Oh, that is great. So the question was, would I go out and vote if Jesse Ventura was actually running?
Yeah.
That might. Here's the thing. If I felt like enough people were going to vote for him that it could make it a close race and that my vote may matter, then yes.
Let me position that as a question, though. Is that good enough? Because if there's enough people on the fence saying, I'm going to wait for everybody else, is that really being proactive?
I believe that I'm in the minority of the minority, though.
Well, really, Ben, being down in Texas, you're a Republican state anyway, so they're gonna get the Electoral College votes as it is. So
exactly, it's like Illinois. If you're a Republican in Illinois, Illinois is going Democratic.
But the idea is to get enough votes towards the liberal movement to get them rights in all states, to get them free time on television, to get them into debates. It's bigger than just winning or losing.
I agree. If I felt like if they showed that Jesse Ventura was going to be part of the debates, and his running mate, who I don't think will be Howard Stern, I don't think that's
a fucking joke. No. When people say that, I literally my blood boils. Like there's not a chance that's ever going to happen.
It's a joke for the radio for them to joke about when he's in the studio with them.
Ben, you hit the nail on the head last week, and you said Stern doesn't even like doing America's Got Talent anymore, let alone doing all the debates for vice president. So come on, let's be serious.
No way.
Here.
All the homework, all the studying he would have to do to be up on everything, the way he's already a freak about having to know everything and not look like an asshole in front of everybody. He would never in a million years dedicate his time to becoming the vice president of the United States.
Nor does he care. You got to care. He doesn't give a shit.
He's on the air 3 days a week anymore, okay?
3 weeks a year.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit.
His first foot is way out the door.
He does 180 shows a year. That's all he's contracted to do. 180 shows.
He's already
earned that. Come on.
Of course. We're not taking that away from him, but the idea is that there's no chance in hell that he's going to fucking do it.
He's ready to be in the Hamptons and raise cats with his fucking wife.
Right.
That's it.
Hot wife.
Yes, smoking hot wife.
Yeah, she's a little long in the tooth now.
Give me Jesse Ventura, Ron Paul. Now you're cooking with oil.
That won't. Yeah, but that's not going to work. You need.
I know.
Your best bet would be Gary Johnson now to do be that vice president that like the guy's seen to carry the weight, and the guy. It's about the Ventura rub. We're talking about the Ventura rub here, right?
Huh?
Who's best suited at this point to get the rub? Do you give it to the old guy who's like at this point can be easily cast as like the crazy old fuddy-duddy?
Yeah.
Or do you want Gary Johnson, like 20, 25 years younger, of the same mindset? Even some of Ron Paul stuff is like, when you listen, I think Gary Johnson's a much more logical and balanced candidate.
Isn't Gary Johnson the character?
I think when it comes to the debates, he can hold his own. He will sound like he knows what he's talking about. He isn't going to be a celebrity, type of guy out there, like a Sarah Palin, just there for celebrity.
He was governor of what, Nevada for how long? Like 8 or 12 years or something like that. I could be wrong on the time or something like that, but generally, that's what you want in a running candidate as a governor, because while they ran a state, the next logical step would be to be in line to run the country. They have experience as the executive.
Well, you also look at how they ran the state
too. And Ventura also governor of a state, mayor before. So, and if spun right, you could really lose the whole wrestling stigma. Mm-hmm. All you need to do is have him explain it, and then the PR focus on his time as a Navy SEAL, and done right, the PR can take care of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I guess if we're staying on Jesse Ventura, do you want to hear a little bit from Jesse Ventura? Our girl Abby Martin had a sit down with Jesse Ventura. He's actually got a new book about the JFK conspiracy. Are we interested in hearing what Jesse Ventura had to say with Abby Martin?
Yeah, sure.
I would love to hear.
All right, excellent. Let's check it out.
Not many people can cross over from being a combat veteran to a Hollywood actor to the governor of a state unless, of course, you're Jesse Ventura. After leaving the world of professional wrestling, Ventura ran for mayor and then governor of Minnesota as an independent candidate, proving that defeating the two-party monopoly is possible. And since leaving politics, he's hosted his own TV show called Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura, and he's now a best-selling author. His new book is called They Killed Our President, 63 Reasons to Believe There Was a Conspiracy to Assassinate JFK. Well, he joined me earlier to break it all down. I want to get your take on this shutdown. Taxpayers elect Congress. They pay their salaries. Congress seems to have no disagreement on bombing countries and spying. And they know that they have a 10% approval rating. So how is it that they have the gall to hold Americans hostage indefinitely?
I'll tell you, it's beyond my comprehension. I don't know how. You know, these congressmen and senators, they shut the government down because they don't want us to have health care for everybody. Yet they themselves have 4 different plans they can each choose from for their health care. And is it not provided by the government? So isn't it government-run health care? The hypocrisy is astounding to me.
It is indeed, especially the GOP, cutting food stamps yet receiving millions of dollars of subsidies for their farms. Let's talk about your new book. You're promoting it called They Killed Our President, 63 Reasons to Believe There Was a Conspiracy to Assassinate JFK. Thank you so much for sending me this. I can't wait to read it. And the book outlines 63 reasons to believe this was a conspiracy. Can you elaborate on what you found to be the most compelling reason of all?
Oh, there's so many compelling reasons of the 63 that, I'll give you a few things. One thing the Warren Commission lied about, Jack Ruby and Lee Harvey Oswald knew each other very well. Jack Ruby had stated that he knew Lee Oswald since he was a kid. Now imagine that there changed the whole assassination because the Warren Commission told us, there's no connection. Jack Ruby killed him because he didn't want Jackie to face a horrible trial. Like we're all supposed to buy into that. And remember this, the only quote that Jackie Kennedy ever said about this, she said, "They killed my husband." They. She didn't say he killed my husband. She was plural. And then, there's so many, like you've got the Katzenbach memo, which I lead the book off with because I felt that was so important. Mainstream media has never even shown it to the public. Nicholas Katzenbach was the acting attorney general Monday morning. Naturally, Bobby had lost his brother. He wasn't coming into work on Monday. So he was the acting attorney general. This is a memo from him to Lyndon Johnson, the new president. And he explains how in the memo, we have to make the public know that Oswald acted alone, that he had no partners who are still out there, conspirators who acted with him, and that he would have been convicted had there been a trial. All of this laid out in a memo. If that's not a smoking gun to the government's cover-up. See, 2 cover-ups took place, 2 conspiracies. There was the actual conspiracy to shoot JFK and murder him, and then there was the conspiracy afterwards to cover it up.
And it's so unfortunate that so much evidence has been destroyed, yet there are so many unanswered questions. I mean, how much is available that's more than just circumstantial?
Oh, there's still a lot. They're still withholding tons of evidence. Do you know what you can't get today? You cannot get Lee Harvey Oswald's tax return. Now, someone might say, why is that important? First of all, you'd say, well, why can't you get it? 50 years, that can't be national security. I'll tell you why it's important. If we could get Lee Harvey Oswald's tax return, that would leave a paper trail to who was paying him. And that paper trail would lead right back to our own government because Lee Harvey Oswald was a low-level government agent.
Oh, we know that.
In fact, he was involved when he went to the Soviet Union. It's already been proven he was involved in what they called a false defector program that the United States government was running at that time, getting young guys to allegedly defect to the Soviet Union.
Jesse, a majority of Americans believe this. They believe that JFK was assassinated by a conspiracy. And also, a majority of people have questions about 9/11 also. Knowing this, how does it feel to go on shows like Piers Morgan and other shows on the mainstream media and to be ridiculed and painted as a lunatic for bringing up these issues?
Well, because we'll show you in the book that was the CIA's mission to anyone that questioned it. That's how they do. They try to marginalize you. They try to make it seem like you're a conspiracy nut. That's where the mainstream media comes in, because they are also culpable in this deal. Because, excuse me, many times you hear, well, someone would have talked. Many people have talked. It's simply mainstream media won't report that they did. I'll give you an example. I have an audio, visual, and written confession from E. Howard Hunt from Watergate of the CIA. He did a deathbed confession to his son, St. John Hunt. We've got it all on tape. We aired it on my TV show. It should have been headlines across America. E. Howard Hunt admits he was part of JFK conspiracy to kill him. It didn't receive one word of mainstream media coverage, not a word that E. Howard Hunt had confessed to an outside participation. He even named who did it. You know, Cord Meyer of the CIA, Morales, who was, and I forget the other guy who was the head of the CIA's assassination team and all that. And where do we get off having CIA assassination teams? At what point in time did our country allow premeditated first-degree murder of someone without an arrest, a trial, and a conviction?
Seems like commonplace now, Jesse. You've also said, speaking of the CIA, CIA operatives working in every state government. First of all, how do you know this, and what are they doing there?
Well, I don't know what they're doing there. How do I know this? Because as governor, I was introduced to the person.
Wow.
And they wear two hats. They work at a high level of government, but they don't come and go with governors or anything. They're there all the time. They do one job for the state, and they wear a second hat as a Central Intelligence agent. And what troubles me about that is in the CIA's mission statement, it states they're not to be operational inside the United States. That's the FBI's job.
You know, speaking of extrajudicial assassination, I wanted to get your opinion on this, Jesse. Renowned journalist Seymour Hersh just came out saying that the bin Laden narrative is a big lie. Do you agree that we've been lied to about what happened to bin Laden?
I have a lot of questions because he had a disease that had him on what are those machines?
Dialysis
again?
Machine, yeah.
Dialysis, yeah, thank you. It's been a long days. He was on dialysis machine. How could this guy be wandering around the hills of Afghanistan with a dialysis machine and we can't find him?
What? For 10 years?
Come on. Well, let's look at the whole 9/11 conspiracy for a moment. Here's what the government told us, that 19 Islamic radicals armed with box cutters defeated our multi-billion-dollar air defense system, all while conspiring with a bearded guy in a cave in Afghanistan.
You know, I just find it shocking that the American people don't demand evidence or any sort of closure about this event, that they've, you know, Obama campaigned on it, the death of bin Laden, killing this guy, no trial, nothing at all. Just really bizarre, Jesse. And as a former Navy SEAL, do you find it weird that SEAL Team 6, a group that embodies this extrajudicial assassination, has been glorified in the mainstream?
No, I'm upset that people even know about the SEAL Team, because back when I was in the Navy, they weren't even hardly known to the public. Now they've turned them into the Green Berets, movies about them, this about them, that about them. It was much better in the old days where we simply wore green uniforms with jump wings and wore no other insignias at all to indicate who we were. And SEAL Team 6 was the highly secretive one. In fact, my good friend Dick Marcinko is the creator of SEAL Team 6. He writes all the Rogue Warrior books. And Dick's the one that created SEAL Team 6, the anti-terrorist unit. And I've had personal friends that have served in SEAL Team 6. They weren't even known. They wouldn't even acknowledge SEAL Team 6 existed. And now today, they're like every day, everyone knows it, everyone wants to be one, and Hollywood wants to exploit them.
Jimmy Carter, who said that the U.S. has one of the worst election processes in the world, pretty strong words from a former president. Governor, you've called for paper ballots to replace voting machines, but my thing is that, we have the technology. Shouldn't we be able to use the technology that exists today? The problem is when the machines are owned by Mitt Romney or Bush or Obama or whoever else. I mean, really, what is the root of the issue here?
Here's the problem, and I'll disagree with you. We don't want these electronic voting machines because they can be hacked into like any other computer. Let me put it to you in a real easy sense. Would you go to a cash machine that didn't offer you a receipt?
No.
An ATM machine. Would you go to an ATM machine that didn't offer you a receipt? No. Well, why would you vote on a voting machine? You have no way of knowing. When, say you vote for Barack Obama and you push the button on Barack Obama, you have no way of knowing if Barack Obama, if that vote was registered to him. It could go to his opponent. And there's no way to have a recount because all those machines do is they give you a number like an adding machine. 1,200 votes for this guy, 1,300 votes for this guy. Some things are better left old. How about paper ballots where you simply fill in the circle? My point is, you've been doing that since first grade. When you took tests in school, fill in A, B, C, or D. If a person isn't capable of doing that, they shouldn't be voting in the first place.
Good point. I mean, we've seen just extraordinary hacking into already over the past few years with these machines. And you've also said the Electoral College should be abolished. I couldn't agree more. That's an antiquated system. It needs to be completely removed. But we're almost out of time, and I wanted to bring this up, Jesse. You recently floated the idea of a Ventura-Howard Stern 2016 presidential ticket. Can we get this confirmed right now? You have the floor. You can make the announcement right here.
Well, it takes Howard. I won't do it without Howard. And there's a method to my madness. I need Howard Stern. Number one, I despise raising the money. It's bribery. It's legal bribery, what our system is. And you bribe the candidate. You give them money. That's how you get in. If you do that in the private sector, you go to jail. But we have an entire political system based upon bribery. Well, my deal is Howard can raise the money. Then I don't even have to pay attention to the money. I'll do the governing, let Howard raise the money. And also, when I ran for governor of Minnesota, I had a statewide talk radio show. When I filed to run, I lost my job. I had to go 6 months unemployed because the FCC won't let you. Howard Stern is not with the FCC, he's with Sirius Radio. We can use his radio show to be our platform to the United States of America, and it would cost us zero in money. I find it obscene. My father once said to me when I was 16, a World War II vet, he said, all politicians are crooks. I said, come on, Dad, you can't make a blanket statement like that. How do you know that? He said, easy. He said they pay $1 million for a job that only pays $100,000.
Oh,
think about that a moment.
Very smart man.
No one in the private sector would ever pay more money for a job than what they're going to earn. That's the status quo, except for Jesse Ventura. When I ran for governor of Minnesota, I only raised $300,000, and I made $480,000 my 4 years in office, $120,000 a year. So I actually made more money doing the job than what I spent to get it. So if my father would have been still alive, he could say, my son is not a crook.
So there you go, Jesse Ventura with our girl Abby Martin. I thought it was interesting that because it's an FCC rule, again, we go back, Howard Stern is never going to run with him. That's not going to happen. But it is interesting that they could use his show because it's not under FCC control. There is no gotta give equal time when it comes to
watch how quickly the FCC steps right in and puts an injunction on that, and somehow the Supreme Court hears it the next day.
Well, the other thing that I think Jesse's might be thinking Howard's the same Howard from when he was getting 20 million listeners, which he's not anymore. So it's kind of he's on a paid service. It's kind of a little different than the free airwaves. So I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sure Howard's probably looking at wait. You want me to do wait, Robin? He wants me to do what?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no.
Money. I'm sure he wants some kind of challenge. I'm sure Howard Stern, if he was interested, wouldn't be interested in it to just be the money guy. He'd probably be interested for some actual, like, I can help change how things are going. I see how it's going. And,
You know the challenge he wants someone to beat him in chess. He's not looking for the presidency or the vice presidency.
No, I think so that's a shame. That's the only way that Ventura could. But he's right. It's about the money, and they need some way to equalize the equal time thing with the networks and stuff like that. And that's what it is. It's what you're basically up against. The machine, man.
I thought it was interesting to hear him talking about SEAL Team 6 and that whole idea of them kind of being popularized. I wish they would have talked about how all of them are suddenly dead after the Osama bin Laden raid happened, and how many of SEAL Team 6 of that team that were there that day, supposedly, are now dead. It's pretty
Conspiracy theory, Ben. Those goddamn men are heroes.
Yeah, how dare you talk about that? They serve their country.
Yeah, you know what, man? They did that so that you can go to work tomorrow.
You can buy a gold coin with their faces
I'm not saying
on
they're
it.
not heroes. I'm not saying those guys are not heroes. I'm just saying, why are they all dead? These are some of the most highly trained, people
Two
on the planet.
Two of them got thrown. Oh, I'm sorry, fell out of a helicopter. Fell.
Right.
Both of them fell out of a helicopter.
Navy SEALs, trained Navy SEAls on the anti-terrorist team.
Yeah, it's right up there with buildings collapsing that have never collapsed before,
or that were ever damaged. It's interesting that he said that he wishes they just weren't known as SEALs, and there's probably a really good reason why you're hearing SEAL team, is that there's something much more sinister, something much more highly trained that you're not hearing about. That's doing the real dirty work of today with like stealth suits, and they're just laser guided, personalized rockets.
Right. The Navy SEAls aren't the baddest dudes anymore.
Hey, what about that? What about that shit that came out this week about the fucking nukes being moved and a highly recognized sergeant losing his job? You guys aware of this?
It was a 2-star general.
I'm sorry, 2-star general losing his job. Yeah, they were. I don't really understand the whole gist of it, but long story short, that nukes were moved from one spot to another spot without clearance, and somehow it leaked, and a high-ranking official lost his job over it.
Yeah, because they used this fuck up because he had a gambling problem, Vito, and that
we know about.
Right, and they were there's something screw up, but this guy was like, you can't have a guy that had literally, he was in charge of the United States nuclear arsenal. You can't have people like that going to a casino and gambling.
But let me ask you a question: who authorized the move?
Okay, here's a question I want to know before that. Who authorized us to have nukes? If we're gonna talk about other countries and saying they're not allowed to have weapons of mass destruction, how are we allowed to have?
Ben, because we keep the world in order. Duh.
Because we got to fight them there, so we don't fight them here.
Man.
Yeah, we got to have the nukes, buddy.
Nobody in the government sees the irony in that at all.
Oh no, they see it, but they don't give a fuck.
I think they've engineered it to be that ironic.
Yeah,
to be quite honest.
Remember, we're doing it to defend this country.
Yeah, so they moved them, and so you're just basically saying, Brooks, is this probably a reason just to get rid of the guy?
Something again.
Well, then why not just get rid of him? I mean, that doesn't make. Why not just kill him? I mean,
if it was something like gambling is considered an addiction. And you would be able to, if he wanted to, raise a stink about, you fired you blah blah blah. But now, like, hey, we've got these nukes that were moved. Oh, and by the way, you're gambling. You're fired.
It's not like they moved the couch from one end of the room to the other. Like, we're talking about moving nuclear weapons.
Nuclear weapons, right?
Like a pretty big deal. And like, where were they going? Why were you moving them? Why were you touching them?
Why does it need to move them?
Right. Why does that door ever even get opened? Like, shouldn't it just not ever be opened? And another question, like, why would we need to move them? Like, this show I was listening to today on Dangerous Conversation, they were saying, and this is all speculation, and they prefaced it by saying that, like, could there have been, because obviously our infrastructure is falling to pieces all the time, could there have been like a chemical spill somewhere or something that, something fell apart somewhere and they had to get these fucking nukes out of here, and instead of telling that the story if that's what took place, they just said that this guy had him moved, and the story just sounds so fishy. And to boot, why is it even our knowledge? Why do we even know about this at all? Why do we know about this?
Well, how did this make it into any sort of news at all? Yeah.
Yeah, and the two people doing it is Michael Savage, which take him with a grain of salt, and Alex Jones. So, you know.
Those are the only two people talking about this story?
Right, I came in the middle of the conversation, so I didn't hear like the origins of this. Like, why is it released? Was it a Freedom of Information Act? Which I don't think it could be, because this is like a news. This happened like this week. It's not like
some news organization reported it and they picked it up. That's how. There's no way that those two guys got this information and no one else.
Right, and if they did, then it's pure bullshit anyway. So I don't even like Michael Savage and Alex Jones could hold hands into the sunset and then die, and I wouldn't lose any sleep.
Right. They would do a lot of favors to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we are coming up on the top of the hour. After the top of the hour, we will be talking to Brian from Super Action Fight Productions. We'll find out all about that women's wrestling promotion. I got lots of questions. If you want to check out their website in this next break while you're listening online, check out superactionfights.com and get a gist of what goes on here. We'll be talking to Brian just after the top of the hour. And it's now time for our first theme break of the night. Former Black Guys. Vito, is this yours or is this mine?
It's yours. Give it talk up, brother.
All right. Well, I went with two. I'm not even going to say who it is.
No, say it. No, I think you should explain, because if people just tune in, they're going to be confused.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll just go back and say Vito text messaged me Saturday and said, "Hey, let's do a themed break for Former Black Guys." And I'm like, "All right, cool." He's like, come up with that genre of music, come up with 2 songs to play. And I was like, all right, cool. Pressure's on. I like it. So immediately I'm sitting there with Adrian, and I'm thinking, what 2 things can I Yo, Adrian. Yeah, I thought that was totally. I kind of set it up. Yeah, I kind of set it up because I knew it was on the soundboard already.
Sorry, I was drinking Jack Daniels. I wasn't paying attention.
Well,
who started drinking without me?
Well, fire in the hole, Brooks. Get your glass of wine and your your sifter or whatever the fuck you drink it out of.
We're gonna do. I'll do whiskey with you, sir.
All right, well, here we go. But yeah, so I came up with Montel Jordan. This is how we do it.
This is how we do it.
Friday night. Never made a more awesome song and never done anything else afterwards like Montel Jordan.
How did he not? It was like an anthem.
This song is classic, and I know every word, and Adrian didn't believe me, and I sung every word on our way home from dinner on Cal.
I nutted.
Yes, Montel Jordan, this is how we do it, and then I was like, oh, man, what else? And then I came up with it. I'm giving you all Blackstreet, No Diggity, featuring Dr. Dre.
No doubt.
Here it is.
No regulators.
And I'll tell you this much. This song is such a fucking awesome song, and this is another group. I remember I bought this CD for the No Diggity song, and I didn't even go to that song first. I'm like, the whole CD has to kick ass, right? Press play. I literally listened to like the first few seconds of each song, and they're terrible. That album is one of the worst albums ever. No
Blackstreet didn't do much. Teddy Riley actually went on to be a pretty decent producer, but no one in this group ever did anything of any significance other than this song right here. So 2 great one-hit wonders, Montel Jordan and Blackstreet. We will be back right here.
This break brought to you by Ben Jordan.
You know what? I like to play. No diggity, no doubt. Play on, play that. Play on, play that. Yo, Dre, drop the verse.
It's going down, fade to Blackstreet. The homies got at me, collab creations. Bump like agony, no doubt. I put it down, never slouch. As long as my credit can vouch, a dog couldn't catch me stayed out. Tell me who could stop with Dre making moves, attracting honeys like a magnet, giving them orgasms with my mellow accent. Still moving this flavor with the homies Blackstreet and Teddy, the original rough shakers.
Shutting it down, good lord. Baby got 'em open all over town. Strictly bitch, you don't play around. Cover much grounds, got game by the pound. Getting paid is a forte, each and every day. True play away. I can't get her out of my mind. Wow. I think about the girl all the time. Wow. East side to the west side, pushing fat rides, it's no surprise. She got tricks in the stash, stacking up the cash, fast when it comes to the gas. By no means average. It's on when she's got to have it. Baby, you're a perfect 10. I wanna get in. Can I get down so I can? I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. Bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. Bag it up, girl. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. Bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up.
She's got class and style. Street knowledge by the time. Baby, never act wild. Very low key on the profile. Catching feelings is a no. Let me tell you how it goes. Curves the word, spins the verb. Lovers it curves so freak what you heard. Rolling with the fatness. You don't even know what the half is. You got to pay to play. Just for shorty bang bang to look your way. I like the way you work it. Trump tight all day, every day. You're blowing my mind, maybe in time. Baby, I can get you in my ride.
I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. Bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. Bag it up, babe. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Hey yo, that girl looks good. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Play on, play on, play on. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. You're my kind of girl. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Hey yo.
Cause that's my peeps and we roll deep. Flying first class from New York City to Blackstreet. What you know about me? Now the thing, Cartier wooded frame sported by my shorty. As for me, icy gleaming pinky diamond ring. We bees the baddest click up on this scene. Ain't you getting bored with these fake awards? High shows improves, no doubt. I've been thinking so. Please excuse if I come across rude. That's just me, and that's how a player's got to be. Stay kicking game with a capital G. Ask the peoples on my block, I'm as real as can be. Word is born. Faking moves never been my thing. So Teddy, pass the word to your in Chauncey. I'll be sending the call, let's say around 3:30. Queen Pen and Black.
No diggity. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. Get it going on. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it. Ride. We out.
This is how we do it. This is how we do it. La 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 la. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. It's Friday night, and I feel alright. The party's here on the west side, so I reach for my 40 and I turn it up. Designated driver, take the keys to my truck. Hit the shop cause I'm faded. Honey's in the streets, say money, yo, we made it. It feels so good in my hood tonight. The summertime skirts and the guys ain't canine. All the gangbangers forgot about the drive-by. You gotta get your groove on before you go get paid. So tip up your cup and throw your hands up and let me hear the party say, I'm kinda buzzed and it's all because this is how we do it. South Central does it like nobody does. This is how we do it. To all my neighbors, you got much flavor. This is how we do it. Let's flip the crack from the old school bag. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. All hands are in the air and wave from here to there. If you're an OG Mac or a wannabe player, you see the hood's been good to me ever since I was a lowercase G, but now I'm a big G. The girls see I got the money, $100 bills, y'all. If you were from where I'm from, then you would know that I gotta get mine in a big black truck. You can can get yours in a 6-ball. Whatever it is, the party's underway. So tip up your cup and throw your hands up and let me hear the party say, I'm kind of buzzed, so because this is how we do it. South Central does it like nobody does. This is how we do it. To all my neighbors, you got much flavor. This is how we do it. Let's flip the track, bring the old school back. This is how we do it. I'm kind of buzzed, so because this is how we do it. South Central does it like nobody does. This is how we do it. YNB, SCC. This is how we do it. I'll never come back on an old school track. This is how we do it. Check it out.
Back to back.
We are back here on In the Rotation, episode 63, former black guys. Although on Spreaker.com it's former black dudes.
Whatever.
Whatever. But yes, it is your first in the 2 breaks. You got a little No Diggity from Blackstreet and some Montel Jordan. How can you not remember those 2 songs if you are our age, Vito? It's impossible.
I think they're great. I was jamming to them. I was telling Brandon I was back here recording it with my daughter the other day, and she's like a little dancer. The minute she hears music, she starts fucking rocking her hips and shit, right? So I'm playing these songs, and I was singing to her as if I was Montel Jordan, like, serenading the crowd, and she was loving it. And I'll have you know, the board says former black dudes on the board. So that was the official name last week. So that's why I went with it.
Okay. Then I stand correct.
I believe, though, multiple times I said guys to you on the phone, so I'm sure that's where it came from.
I will let you get away with that one. But it is In the Rotation, episode 63. I'm your host, Ben Jordan, along with Vito Tomaselli. In the sidecars, as usual, our boys Polly Tomaselli and Professor Mike Brooks is here. We talked about Columbus Day and heard from Jesse Ventura in hour number 1. And just coming up in here in a few minutes, we'll be talking with Brian from Super Action Fight Productions.
Yeah, and there's a correction. It's Super Action Fight with no S. SuperActionFight.com.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So superactionfight.com. Check them out. Get an idea of what they're all about. We'll be talking to the creator, Brian, here in just a few minutes. Coming up in hour number 3, we will have the Storm Maverick Advice Show, everybody's favorite segment of ITR Live. And Brooks, he is in with the whiskey. Brandon, are you partaking?
No. I not live in Palatine. No, I not live in Palatine, so it's a long drive home. So
yeah, man, I'm not drinking either. That's not to say that I am not under the influence.
Hey, you guys, I don't know if you're aware or not, but I have an exclusive. Independent wrestler Low Key, better known as Senshi in TNA and Caval in WWE, retires.
Yes, I saw his post, and I sent him a message, and he kayfabed the shit out of it.
Due to All Japan not honoring their contractual obligations of medical care after being injured at AJPW, I'm retiring from pro wrestling. I give it a year.
Ball going home.
I give it a year.
Well, our boy,
till someone wants to pay him a tremendous amount of money. And don't get me wrong, that guy, he won't leave his house for a price less than he thinks is worth it, but eventually he will take that payday. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you going to do with your fucking life? Before wrestling, he was a security guard in a mall.
But it's like $450 took a spot in All Japan because that's where he's at right now.
Yeah, because he'll work for cheap.
Yeah, and I'll bet you, I don't know this for sure, but I'll bet you $450 paid for the flight.
He flew himself out there. That's exactly what he did. Yep. They didn't change their mind after he did a Kickstarter campaign.
He's publicly stated how he's willing to do such a thing. I'm sure they took advantage of that and said, yeah, go ahead, fly yourself out and we'll put you on these shows. And I saw it's like the pictures he's posting, and like they're doing outdoor shows. I mean, Mood is not with All Japan anymore. So
it's dark match at best.
All Japan is not what it once was at all. So, while it's great that he got to go to Japan and then live out that dream,
but when you're laying down at night, though, that taste in your mouth is not as sweet as when you flew yourself out there. I'm sorry, and this is not sour grapes on my end at all. Trust me, it's just from a talent standpoint, you do not feel cool flying yourself out there.
All right, no, you feel cool when you're laying in your hotel room in Japan, in Tokyo, and you didn't pay for it, and you didn't pay to get there, and you were paid to be there.
Yeah, and you're making $2,000 a week.
Didn't Donovan tell you one time?
That feeling of I made it in Japan.
Didn't Donovan tell you one time he was laying in his bed, he could hear Scorpio railing all the Japanese chicks?
All the time. Yeah, he literally, he's got a baby arm-sized dick.
I've seen it.
Yeah, and he would just rail Oriental bitches all day long, who aren't the biggest women at all.
When I wrestled that one night in Indiana, he's like, "Oh shit, kid, we're next." Here, and he starts getting undressed, and literally it flopped out and hit his ankle. I was like, can you put that away? But he did have the coolest boots ever.
Oh, yeah. You weren't looking at his boots at all. You were looking at the head of his dick.
It was gigantic. It was bigger than mine. But no, remember he had the boots that had like the yellow stitching inside of the boots and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those were the shit.
Yeah, he's something else. He fade me for an interview, too. So, fuck him.
Who did? Wait,
Scorpio. Well, his handler did, which I'm assuming is his wife. So
no, we're gonna step.
We get kayfabed a lot.
He's kind of a former black dude.
Yeah, and yeah, I love when Trump emails me telling me to go live now, and I'm already live. You got it, Trump. We're already live, buddy.
We're live. I think we have a sound effect for when we do it live.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Absolutely, we'll do it live. Fuck it. So we're live, Trump.
We are live on the Ripped Radio Network for the next 2 hours. So the Ripped Radio Network, we're normally only on for an hour and a half. We've gotten an extra half an hour extension tonight, thanks to Trump and the boys. Check us out on the Ripped Radio Network in our entirety every Wednesday from 10 at noon and then again at 10 p.m. All 3 hours in their entirety. Obviously, you'll get the chance to listen to us tonight here live. We got coming up Brian from Super Action Fight Productions.
Get it right, man. You only said it 10 fucking times.
And I think we got extra time on Rip Radio tonight because of the show name.
Yes.
And really, you got to give Trump some credit. We did kind of fuck up quite a few weeks in a row. Where
yeah, no, I'm shocked we're back. I'm shocked we're back live.
Yeah, so thanks, Trump.
It's a testament to just how awesome this show is that he gave us a second chance on Monday night.
We'll do a podcast. Fuck it.
So absolutely. So I guess it's time to do it live as we do. It's time to talk to Brian from Super Action Fight Productions.
Yeah, I think this is interesting. I found him on my Facebook wall. The randomness that gets on your Facebook wall, and I just think the idea of what he does is a niche. But I bet it makes a lot of money.
Ben, I went to his website and I looked at the wrestlers. I didn't see any like female indie workers that I knew at all. So, but I did see one chick on there.
It's not like the guy. I want to talk. I mean, not because but the guys that do that, because like we know dudes that have gone and done that.
I tried to do it because they were paying $2,500 a weekend to go there and have like 10 matches in your tiniest trunks. And I was trying to get on that real bad. Chris Daniels was doing it. AJ Styles was doing it. Everybody was doing it. No, I had tattoos. They turned me down because I had tattoos.
Oh, that old gag.
Yeah, they kind of like the guy hit me. Yeah, the guy hit me exactly. Fuck Dean Malenko. So yeah, they didn't like it too much. So at this point, we're gonna do it live.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Nobody does it like we do. This is how we do it.
We do it live.
Hello.
Howdy.
Hey, is this Brian?
Yes, it is.
Hey, how we doing, sir? Thanks for joining the show tonight. How's your evening going?
It's going well.
Great. Hey,
listening in on the show.
Oh, good. What are your thoughts?
I like what you guys are doing. I listened to the last episode, and I was listening to today's show. It's a nice mix of wrestling and current events. It's not easy. I know I have a lot of friends in the business as far as radio and stuff. So
you should get in the business, kid.
Cool. Well, so take us back a little bit. I mean, tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, we want to hear about your promotion, but I'm more intrigued in the guy that decided to start this thing up. So why don't you take the show over for a few minutes and who is Brian? Talk to us a little about who you are and what got you to this point.
All right. As far as wrestling is concerned, I'm 43, so I grew up as a kid in the 70s into the 80s. I was a huge WWF fan back in the day. My interest started leaning probably around the Hulk Hogan period, when Vince was making it more commercial for families. But my interest in female wrestling pretty much always been a consistent thing. I'm not sure if you guys would know about this, but especially in the 70s, there were a couple of black and white wrestling magazines, and one was called Sports Radio Wrestling, and they used to run a monthly feature that was photos of girls in bikinis wrestling in apartments. They call it apartment wrestling.
Yeah, they were always like in head scissors and stuff. I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, so I mean that kind of thing goes back to even the days of Betty Page in the 1950s. You know, shooting on 14th Street in Manhattan with Urban Claw. I mean, there's a cat fight fetish fantasy thing that goes back in film. You know, almost as long as there's film. So, you know, when I grew up on, I used to see that in the spinner racks next to the comic books, and you know, needless to say, it fascinated the hell out of me. And you know, growing up in the 80s. There was this boom, this interest in club wrestling. So you would see a lot of that stuff. I mean, granted, TV today is just incredible how many stations and, you know, variety of broadcasts and stuff. But, you know, back in the day, there was major stations and then cable was starting to come around. So you'd start seeing stuff like, you know, oil wrestling and mud wrestling from the Tropicana in California. And, you know, again, it was like, wow, what the hell is this? You know? And then by the mid-'80s, Glow, which is that show in Vegas, the all-female show, you know, that's the, you know, a lot of people obviously got their start watching that. And they became friends with actually one of the main wrestlers, Hollywood, who to this day wrestles. So, yeah, it was just always an interest of mine. So, you know, I'm an illustrator, too. I work in comics. And I've always been an illustrator, so I used to actually do like illustration work for video producers, even back in the mid-'80s when I was a teenager. And,
when you're drawing a girl, does she always have C cups, or what's your standard size when you're drawing a chick?
Well, a lot of the stuff that I would see from other guys that would make their living doing that stuff, obviously it was, you know, ginormous proportions and stuff. But I was always kind of a little conservative with that stuff. I didn't do too much of that stuff. You know, I was a kid, but it is kind of funny that my first professional work in the industry was doing comics for a producer out in California in the mid-'80s. So going all the way to when the internet started blowing up, I became friends with Hollywood, who I said worked for Glow. And she, to this day, runs her own production. So I used to help her out with promotion and doing write-ups for her videos. And a couple of years after that, I was just getting a little tired of the content she was shooting because it was a little too much fetish for me.
Why don't you define that a little bit? What do you mean too much fetish? Like too much like we're not fingering her, but we're kind of fingering her? I mean, what do you mean? What kind of fetish?
Her stuff wasn't that over the top. I mean, believe it or not, I mean, there's obviously a lot of risque content in the female wrestling industry, you know, as far as the video production side of it. But honestly, it was more of a PG-13 R-rated. You know, she used to do a lot of like topless stuff in her videos. And what I mean by fetish is, you know, here's this woman from the TV show that was on TV for 3 years, you know, Playboy model. She can't go to a convention without being swarmed by fans that loved what she did. But her video productions was, you know, dressing up like a cowgirl, and there's an Indian, and she ties her up on her bed and stuff. And I was saying, you know, Hollywood, what are you doing? You're a famous pro wrestler. You should do more wrestling for your production. And she pretty much gave me the best advice I had, which was, you know, shit or get off the pot. You know, if you think you could do something better with production, then do it yourself. And I took that and went with it and started up a company in New Jersey. She's was located in California at the time. And I've been doing this for 8 years. Now, the interesting thing is it was just something I wanted to try out to see if I could actually do it. And probably, like 2.5 years, 3 years into it, the money was so good that I was able to leave my corporate day job.
Which was what? What were you doing?
What was I doing in corporate?
Yeah.
I was an investigator for a company, and then I, at the time I left, I was working in production at a big newspaper company. Gotcha.
And you said you're from New Jersey, so obviously, I believe through our conversation earlier, you actually had a pretty interesting high school. Why don't we pause the story about what you do, and why don't you explain a couple of the cats you went to high school with?
Yeah, it's really weird. I went to a school in New Jersey, Cedar Ridge. It's not there anymore. They actually combined a couple of schools in that town. But I went to Cedar Ridge in the mid to late 80s. And just in the 4 years I was there, it was a lot of kind of interesting celebrities. You're ahead of me. There was Brian O'Halloran, who was Dante in Kevin Smith's movies.
Is that the guy with the blowjob queen girlfriend?
I'm 37.
Yeah, is he the 37th dick that got sucked?
Yeah, that's Brian. So I've known Brian since the 80s. Not Diaz is another guy from that grade, and he's a world famous writer. New York Times best-selling author. He teaches up in Boston somewhere now. But
what's some of his
Taylor played with Lita Ford. He's like a year or two ahead of me. There was a girl that was on the Cosby Show for a couple of seasons, and obviously the thing that ties in with your show is Tammy Sitch was 2 or 3 years behind me, and as you all know, she became Sunny.
Was she as hot in high school as she was in the mid-90s?
She really wasn't. No, in school she was just a skinny little kid. The funny thing is, my interest in pro wrestling dropped off, like I said, in the early to mid-'80s, around the time they start doing the SummerSlam and WrestleMania stuff. So I completely lost touch with the product.
Was she as big of a whore back then as she is today?
From what I understand, she was.
Yes.
Again, she was a couple of years younger than me, and
Well, from what I understand, she sucked more than 37 dicks. And I'm shocked that you happened to pass by her in the hallway and she never sucked your dick. Or are you just lying to us?
Nah. Like I said, she was a little scrawny kid when I was there. I'm like 2 or 3 years older than 10. But, it was fine because when I saw her, I started watching the product again when Ken Shamrock was, because I was more of an MMA guy at that time. And I'm watching the show, and then I ran into a buddy of mine who was trying to get into the UFC, and he's like, "Oh, did you see that Tiny's on WWF now?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's who that blonde is with the fake tits. I got you."
Go ahead, Ben.
So she.
Hey, Brian. Ben, the co-host on the show, Ben's got a question for you.
Yeah, I want to go back because you said 3 years into this endeavor, you were making so much money that you were able to quit your job. I mean, I know you don't want to give out your finances, but I mean, are we talking millions or
six figures?
No, would you need to make millions to leave your day job? No, it's well into middle income living.
So is it more like 50 to 100, 150 to 150? I mean, 100 to 100.
Right. Yeah, it's early six figures. Anyone in the wrestling business, especially the video side of it. If they're trying to tell you they're making millions or even $500,000, they're full of shit.
Right.
But, it sure as fuck beats working a day job,
Of course, absolutely. And what I think is so hilarious is that there are millions of indie promoters out there now promoting independent wrestling, and they are hemorrhaging it. And you are a guy that just found the right niche and dedicated yourself to that niche. And it doesn't matter that it might not be everybody's cup of tea when it comes to professional wrestling, but you found a way to make legitimate money in professional wrestling. I can only imagine you look at some guy that runs shows in Kentucky every Saturday night in front of 30 people, and you have to think to yourself, what idiots those people are, right?
I don't think that. And here, I'm glad you brought all that up, and I appreciate the, non-condescending tone that you have, because you would be amazed, or maybe not, at how many people in your position or the indie position that look down at what I do. And I'm like, my girls make anywhere starting at $300 up to, $3,000 in a weekend or even a day working for me.
Right.
People only look down because they're jealous.
Those guys are making $50 driving 5 hours one way, having to wait for them to, build the ring and all the nonsense that goes into doing live shows. You're making peanuts and risking your lives. Now, if that's your thing and you're hoping that it builds into something, or you're cool being indie, more power to you. That's your choice. But for people to look at what I produce and the ladies that work for me and have like this, this asshole attitude towards it, who are you fucking kidding? Wrestling, regardless of what kind you're doing, wrestling is one step above sideshows from the 19th century. Next to us is some guy biting a fucking rat's head off, and you're going to look at what I do as like porno or something. Hey, go fuck yourself, You're a wrestler.
Exactly. We say it's the wrestling business, and that's the way that we brought up in the wrestling is to make money. You find
Absolutely.
your niche and you make money, and if that's what you're doing, then you're doing the wrestling business correctly. So it doesn't surprise me that meathead indie jerks that are weekend warriors that think that they're professional wrestlers because they're living the dream every weekend. Those guys that probably do look down on you because they think, oh shit, I didn't think of that. That's. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm hearing you talk, and I think to myself, God damn it! Why didn't I think of that? Of course, there's a niche.
Whomever was discussing that they were offered that crazy amount of money, the reality is the gay market for fetish wrestling is even a bigger way to make money than what I produce. I typically produce female wrestling, but the mixed market, guy on girl wrestling action, and then the male market, guy on guy, guys in great shape, wearing those little Speedos, doing pro-style wrestling in the ring. There's a gay market for that stuff, and it fucking sells like crazy.
Are your girls trained in pro wrestling, or do you train them?
They're not trained in pro wrestling. I have a background in amateur wrestling and trained in jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So my style of action is even a lot different than a lot of other video productions. There's, 90% of what's out there are literally girls just flailing around that have no fucking clue what they're doing. That's the producer's fault. There's a lot of guys who, in your business, there's a lot of marks. Trust me, in my business too. So nowadays, anyone that has capabilities of doing digital video and putting a website together, guess what? They have their own company now.
So is it a work shoot or is it just a straight shoot? I mean, how does it go for your girls?
Typically, I'll bring in someone that's new, and I'll have them work with someone experienced. So as we're shooting video content, I'm teaching them something. I always like to use the terminology of a language. You're working from a basic language of wrestling, and I'm going to add to your vocabulary the more and more you work with me. So I'll get a girl and show them basic rest holds from the old days. It was 50-year-old guys, catching their breath, doing certain holds. In the ring, it made sense because the guys had to catch their breath, but when you have two attractive girls in bathing suits doing it, it's pretty hot looking. So I teach them a lot of the old classic pro wrestling stuff. And then there is a lot of submissions and locks and stuff that I teach from my background in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
That's incredible. So you've never even had to go out and look for girls to do. I mean, I guess let me ask, how do you find girls to do this?
Initially, it was girls that I was fortunate enough to talk into doing it. And again, this is more or less just to prove that I could do it on my own and see what I could produce. Fortunately for me, I quickly got in touch with a couple of people that had experience with other companies. Fast forward 8 years later, every week I'm contacted by people who are fetish models, people who are wrestlers that know me by reputation or have worked with me in the past. And I'm always looking for new people. So, that's a big part of why you'll see me on Facebook a lot is I'm always looking. If you go on my page today, you'll see I posted a couple of photos of a fetish mom. She's never wrestled before, but I'll turn her into a wrestler in a couple of weeks.
Do most people buy your product to beat off?
I would imagine so. It's definitely, a part of the fetish world. Wrestling, female wrestling especially, is such a marginal part of the fetish world, though. Part of that reason is there's just so many producers. So the money that comes in is watered down because there's just so many producers out there. I could make a lot more money probably producing other fetish content that doesn't interest me. I got into this business as a fan. I'm in it now as a businessman, but there has to be some interest for me to continue doing this stuff.
Is there storylines or is it just straight matches?
I personally like to just do straight up matches. A big part of this business is what's called custom. So I offer the opportunity for fans to pay to get the two girls or whatever scenario he wants in a video. I put it together, I follow their script and shoot it for him.
What are some of the options? Like if I'm doing a la carte, what are the options on that list of what you're talking about?
Depending on who I have scheduled, so I'll let customers know. Chloe's going to be here with Heather, and they're going to be working with Gwen. It's going to be in our mat room. What kind of customs you want? So it could be anything from bikini boxing, belly punch battles or competitions, and then, of course, any kind of wrestling.
Belly punch battle, show name. That's great.
Belly, yeah, that was one of those fetishes that came to me. I had no idea it existed. And the funny thing is, I probably started doing those in 2006. It's still one of the biggest sellers. And because I was one of the first producers to really do it on a kind of a standard for my website, it's like one of the biggest fetishes in female wrestling today is belly punching.
So what is that
for me?
Yeah, can you describe that a little bit more of it? What is a belly punch? I mean, is it just literally just two chicks just punching each other, like play punching each other in the belly? I mean, is that what we're talking about here?
It's a little more of an endurance type competition thing. So they're not just it's not like YouTube World Star type stuff. They're not flailing at each other. But typically it's like put your hands behind your head or behind your back, and the one girl gets 3 to 5 punches, and then they switch over, and the other girl goes. I'll do anything from fantasy to competitive, real competitive. So we'll do belly punching where the girl's up against the wall, lying down on the mat, on her knees. And typically with competitive, it's just up against the wall, 5 punches each until one girl gives up.
Do you have any waterworks? Like, can I pay the girls like they wrestle for like 5 minutes and then they stand up and piss on each other?
God, no.
You're making off like that's crazy. You just explained the whole belly punch scenario.
Yeah,
This is what I love.
Just like me asking you, like, hey, you're wrestling in a ring, so you blow the guy after he loses.
Okay, but
why would you ask that?
if I'm doing private shows somewhere, that's not an unbelievable question.
True. Yeah, that's true. But
if I'm at an indie show in Lexington, Kentucky, sure, that's an odd question to ask me. But if I'm in Brian's living room with some mat spread out, what's the harm to fucking throw a little plastic down and let me get pissed on?
Well, for the most part, the girls I work with wouldn't be coming back.
Well, I bet if you search for it, a little Craigslist Iggy, I guarantee you can find a couple girls that don't mind getting streamed on from time to time.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I have friends that work in other fields in fetish, and one guy he runs a studio in Staten Island. He does some of that stuff where it's like girl gets vibe until she squirts and stuff. And I have such a horrible gag reflex. I always tell them, like, if you're shooting that shit, just make sure I'm not invited over.
Yeah, Ben, that's the next company you and I start. We'll piggyback on Brian a little bit, but we're gonna have the girl squirt and piss at the end of it.
I'm telling you, here's the thing I love about Brian is he has remarkable restraint. I mean, it would be so easy to go that extra step and exploit these girls a little bit more and make a whole lot more money, probably. But I think it's, and I'm not shitting on you. I'm saying the idea that you're just a purist, and you make enough money doing what you do that you can get and your stuff isn't so vulgar and over the line that you can get girls to come back and do it. And then it works for you. So you're not. I love the restraint that you have because for me, it would be so easy to go, man, I'm making $150,000 a year, but if these girls start pissing on each other,
cha-ching!
I can make 3 times that.
Everybody's got a price.
You honestly couldn't, and that's the thing. You have to, like you said, it's a wrestling business. Well, fetish is a business too. So the assumption that porn makes a lot of money and all you need is for the girls to fuck each other or be fucked or whatever, there would be a lot more people making porn. Trust me. There's a couple of productions out there, especially there's a big one out of San Francisco from the sadomasochistic powerhouse called Kink.com. They have a product called Ultimate Surrender, and it's basically amateur wrestling for 3 rounds, and in the 4th round, the winner gets to fuck the loser.
It's awesome.
Really?
It is so awesome. Pornhub's got it on there.
That's over the top, and the thing is, like, that was started by a guy that worked over at Kink.com, and they wanted him to come up with another website in the umbrella of Kink.com. And the reality is, it sells really well, obviously. It's actually a remarkably unique concept if you can get past the whole rapey aspect of it. But the reality is...
No, don't get me wrong, Brian. You're watching it because you want to see how far they're going to go, because it's amazing. The first time I saw it, I was like, no way, these girls are really wrestling each other. And then all of a sudden, that last round, it gets completely fucking ridiculous.
I think there's
these girls are being mean to each other. It was fucking hilarious.
The funnier thing about them is a lot of the girls that work for them, the top tier girls, they're badass competitive girls. They're mat rats. They're training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, gyms all the time because they take that shit really seriously. Because not only are they doing that content, they're also doing session wrestling.
Hey, Brian, this is a serious question, Brian, and I need you to answer this seriously.
Sure.
Have you ever fucked one of these girls? Like, did you bring her in, you got over with her, you paid her a little money, and now she's your wife?
The one part I left out of my biography is I'm a happily married man. I've been with my wife for 22 years now.
Okay, so 22 years. So if I do my math correctly, 23 years ago was your wife one of the competitors?
No, she has no interest. She's cool enough to let me run this company, knowing that
that's because she's cashing checks. I don't blame her. You're bringing home some bacon.
Yeah, she knows the girls. They all love her. But typically, she'll go upstairs and listen to music or something while I'm working, or it's not her thing in any capacity.
Awesome.
But
yeah, it would be one thing if you were making $50 off this. She'd probably be like, "Hey, Brian, it's time we nip this thing in the butt." But
absolutely, I would be that way too. The funny thing is, I mentioned briefly that I'm also an illustrator. I'm at a point now where I have a couple of big book projects, hopefully coming up in 2014. And in all honesty, I'll be perfectly happy for this to be my other profession instead of the profession.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So, how many girls you got in your stable?
Right now, probably, I'd say I could get in touch with at least a dozen girls. And then there's a couple of girls that visit that I'll fly in from California or Georgia or, Tennessee, wherever. I've flown girls in, from all over the place.
So do you mainly do it like in a weekend shot, like you'll do like 10 or 12 or 20 movies in a shot, or do you do this sporadically once a month? I mean, how does this go?
It all depends on who's coming in, what kind of customs come in. So a lot of what the payday is built up on is how many customs come in for the girls. So, for example, I have a quick shoot on Thursday with a couple of local girls. They're only making a few $100, but, it's just a quick shoot. They live 10 minutes away. So, they're going to make $200, $300 in 2 hours as opposed to doing that in half a week working a day job, And then I'll have a situation where, someone's flying in. I've had a girl come in beginning of this year who made $3,500 in the weekend. So she shot, under 20 videos, I think.
That's fucking awesome, Ben.
Yeah, I wanted to say you get customs, and I'm sure you get customs that include sexual stuff all the time, and you just toss those aside. What I want to know is, what's the weirdest one that you did? Like, what's the weirdest one that you were like, okay, this is fucking weird, but we're going to do it anyway because it's not sexual?
I actually have an answer to that. It was never released because the girls were underage, and even though it was simulated training, I wasn't comfortable having 19-year-olds pretending to get drunk. But I actually shot a couple of customs for a guy in 2006, I think it was, where he was requesting that scene from the original Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they go back and forth with the shots until someone keels over. I shot 2 videos with girls that I was working with back in the day where they were pretending to take shots until one girl passed out. No wrestling involved. And that was pretty much my first and last video that was non-wrestling related, taking an order simply because it was an extra payday for the girls. And I was like, this is an interesting.
You sent it to the guy? You sent it to the guy that ordered it, but that it was never released publicly?
And what did he pay for that?
God, 2006. So he was probably had to be 150, 200 probably.
Yes, that's so awesome.
That's not that expensive. I might have to call. I might have to make a custom order for that myself.
So then, what's the weirdest thing you got?
My pricing is actually the best around. I sound like a used car salesman, but the honest truth is, I do so well in the sales side of things that I don't have to beef up my pricing for the customs. A lot of producers do that because they're not making a lot of money on the sales end.
So what's the weird one that came in that you had to turn down? Like what's one that pops in your head that you were like, oh, this guy keeps writing me, but I have to keep telling him no pissing on the girls. Like which one's that?
There was probably, honestly, I can't even remember any specifics. I mean, even, just like the high-end pro stuff, I don't do what I consider picks and drops. I work off of mats that are designed for grappling. So obviously I'm not doing any body slams or pile drivers and stuff. There's some video producers that do dabble in that stuff, but in all honesty, I mean, I have an LLC and all that, but I don't need to be sued by anyone that comes in with a fucked up neck. So I stay away from that kind of stuff.
And then what's the one when you what's the one when you fly the girls in and you go, okay, girls, here we go. Today we have to do blah blah blah. What's the one where they go, we got to do that today?
You get that crap a lot, but honestly, you work with me. I'm not some kind of asshole that springs shit on you that you shouldn't expect. So, for example, there's producers that do scumbag moves, like they'll say, "Hey, come in. You're going to make $800. You're going to work with these two girls. They're a part of my roster. We'll be done in 3 hours." And then the girl shows up. There's no girl there. There's just the producer and another cameraman. And the girl canceled. You have to rest on me now.
A little backroom casting couch, if you will.
Yeah. So I mean, that kind of crap. I try to avoid as much as possible. Yeah, there's last minute cancellations, but you'll see me at a shoot. Contacting clients, contacting local girls to see if they can come in and wrestle, or just switch it with someone else that's here wrestling. I treat it like a business because it is a business, and the honest truth is I'll fire the hottest girl working for me if she treats us like anything less than a business. I've done it multiple times.
Have you ever had a girl cry on set and leave?
Cry. I think girls cry, but not leave. I've had one shoot where two girls were injured a lot worse than I realized, and it was real basic stuff in the business, just doing a figure 4 leg lock, but the one girl was working off a really bad ankle. And we, oh, wow, that was some great acting there, Jackson. And then you find out, no, she was actually writhing in pain on my back, and we had no fucking clue.
Do you then dangle the check in front of her and go, $150?
Well, that was like more like $1,200, but yeah, it was. Stuff like that has happened. Fortunately, no one's been seriously injured or even injured that badly. I'll tell the girls, listen, slow down the tempo when you're doing the belly punching. Don't do rapid fire. You're going to be sore. And the funny thing with belly punching especially is I have to teach girls how to properly punch. I'm more concerned with the girl breaking her wrist than I am with them fucking up the girl's stomach.
Hey, Brian, I got a listener submission here. Do you want to take some questions from the listeners?
Sure.
Ian from Midlothian asks, and this is a serious question he preferenced, what do you beat off to?
Come on. That's private. That's silly.
I'm just reading as they come in, man.
Funny. Yeah, that's a silly.
I think he was probably fishing for, do you beat off to your own stuff, or are you, more of a straight sex guy?
Whatever. That's a silly question.
Okay.
Well, Ian from Midlothian usually does provide fucking retarded questions.
He's kind of a dick.
Seriously, it's like you go to a pro wrestling show, you see the guys in the shiny suits, and you're jerking off to that. Well,
hold on. But honestly, in a sense, though, you can't keep comparing your product to pro wrestling. It's like comparing it to basketball. It's two different things.
It is, but it's definitely in the same wheelhouse.
And in a sense, you are calling it fetish wrestling. So I mean, it's a little bit different than say your VFW hall.
Oh, no question. And I can consider live wrestling more of a performance thing. There's obviously a different dynamic when you're working towards a crowd, whereas working towards a video is a totally different psychology of putting a match together. There's a lot of differences.
Would you ever do a live show like this, or it doesn't really cater to what you do?
You could do like a hotel suite kind of thing, like if you get some kind of whatever, like an Elks Club or something. That is definitely possible. Actually, there was just one that took place in Manhattan a couple of weeks ago, more on the competitive side. There was a lot of companies getting together and getting their doing a lot of competitive stuff. Those are possible. In all honesty, it's not even worth the time and the energy to deal with it. And a lot of girls are comfortable doing this stuff with just other girls around and my old ass shooting it. But when you start injecting the actual fan base into it, it gets to be a different dynamic, and a lot of girls truly have no interest in adding that to what they do for me.
Is it always girl on girl, or do you ever have guys versus girls? Or in the business of what you do other people do guy versus girl?
Oh, yeah, mixed wrestling is a huge, huge industry. It sells actually better than a lot of fem stuff. I'll shoot some that I actually want to start expanding that part of my company starting next year.
Well, we got a guy on the show here, Paulie Tomaselli, that just raised his hand and said he would love nothing more than to be your first model.
Well, you guys are located in Illinois?
Yeah, we're out of Chicago Midway Airport if you want to fly us out.
Oh, no kidding. Okay, well, there used to be a lot more production out that way, but there's actually a couple studios in your area. As you can imagine, any city's going to have some kind of fetish production.
I don't know if you're aware or not, but Paulie's finisher is actually the donkey punch, and he's really good at it.
Nice.
Yeah, so if you want a little girl on guy action wrestling style, he'll bring the trunks and the donkey punch.
Yeah, a lot of obviously you get a lot of people who are very sincere, and they contact me like, hey, I'm a hot young guy and I wrestled in high school, so I wrestled a girl. No, for the most part, people who work in the business that are guys, it's typically guys who are behind the scenes that the girls are comfortable with, or it's their boyfriends, whatever. The whole idea of another model coming into work for me is a guy and he's going to work with these girls that he's never met before. That's never going to happen. It might happen at other studios.
Well, we've met tonight in the air.
I certainly would never drop that out.
Yeah, hey, well, let me do the proper introduction now. Brian, meet Paulie. Paulie, meet Brian.
Hello, Brian. I believe I spoke to you earlier tonight on the phone.
Hey, Paulie.
Yeah, so keep him in mind. He's a world-renowned independent wrestler, and he's
former state champion in Illinois. Also,
yeah, former state champion in amateur wrestling. I think he would fit the bill.
Nice.
He is not impressed at
yeah,
all.
no,
he's like, hey, Paulie, go fuck off.
He basically just said, "Listen, Mr. Donkey Punch, go fuck yourself."
Yeah, I think that's where you screwed me.
Like I said, I did that in school too. I love amateur wrestling.
Yeah.
To see the schools at the Olympics brought it back. I mean, how embarrassing is that? One of the most important parts of the Olympics. It's not. People don't watch it on TV. They want more synchronized swimming.
Well, they don't broadcast it enough. That's the problem.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well, hey, Brian, thank you so much for coming on the show and spending what has now amounted to about 45 minutes with us and telling us all about your business. Like I said, man, I have a lot of respect for your restraint to just stay in your lane and do what you do and be happy doing what you do. I think a lot of guys would get greedy and want to try to push the envelope. And I think it's respectable that you put your brakes on a little bit. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, superactionfight.com. You can also probably find him through Facebook the same way.
Brian Safrod on Facebook. Brian.
Spell that. Spell the last name so people know how to spell it.
It's SAFPRODS. That's shortening the name Super Action Fight Production.
Yeah, and Ian from Midlothian, if you're listening out there, don't hit him up about any jerking off stuff. He doesn't want to hear it. So. Yeah. Super Action.
Kind of question.
Superactionfight.com. Can we order fetish stuff through there directly, or do we got to go through Facebook?
Superactionfight.com is the interface to go to my store, FemaleWrestlingClips.com, and you can go to the Clips for Sale store. You can find out information on ordering customs. I update probably 2 or 3 times a week. My store has close to 1,000 titles. Very active, the best ladies in the business, hopefully the best production. And I'll be doing this probably for a couple more years.
Nice. Well, thanks for joining us, man. Brian from superactionfight.com. We'd like to have you back on again in the future because I think you're a riot to talk to. Thanks for hanging in and letting us goof on it a little bit, but we definitely take it seriously, and we think it's cool.
I appreciate it. In all honesty, I appreciate the, you understand at least where I'm coming from. It wasn't all jokey, and it's very uncommon, unfortunately, in the field. But I do appreciate the.
This is an uncommon show.
Yeah, this is a very uncommon show. So
yeah, no question. I appreciate it.
If you could help us out too and spread the word about your appearance here and let your people know that that we're fans of the product and we're friends of the Super Action Fight team.
When do you guys post it as a file? Because I'll actually put it on my website with the next update.
Oh, hell yeah. And, maybe we can interview a couple of these girls from time to time. That'd be fun, too, if you want to maybe send them our way for some pub on your site.
Yeah,
We'd like
absolutely.
to interview them.
Yeah, I'm
Send
sure
Bobby
someone
our
will
way.
do
Yeah, Brandon would like to have a girl named Brittany. Right, Brandon?
No, Bobby.
Oh, Bobby.
Check Bobby on his website. It's freaking
that.
gorgeous.
Bobby, oh, my God, Bobby. She'll be here on Thursday. Yeah, that kid is.
Oh, yeah, me too. I'll be there Thursday.
So the first intergender fight for Super Action Fight will be Bobby versus Paulie Tomaselli.
Yeah, wow. It's just hard to take, and God bless.
Have a good night, buddy, and thanks for sitting with us tonight.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
So there we go.
I think I put it over to him on the air, and I'll do it as he's off the air. I think that's remarkable restraint that guy has. I think it would be so easy to start exploiting these girls really.
Dude,
really
I would be the scumbag promoter. Like, no, I got an email for shit. You know what we're going to do? We're going to mix like dirt and pudding together, and we're going to pretend that it's shit, and you're going to do it tonight. And then about the third time of me having to go out in the backyard, find dirt, and find shit, I would just be using shit,
A couple times, and I'm not trying to knock him, it's because I watch Backroom Casting Couch from time to time, when he said, 300 to 3,000. I'm like, it's Backroom Casting Couch.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
This.
And then he dangles the check in front of him.
Yeah. Do you want to make 1,500 to 5,000 a day?
Yeah.
Suck my cock.
Now suck my cock.
Now suck my cock.
Yeah.
I think Johnny Armani has a thing about that Bobby girl.
What did you say, Brandon?
Johnny Armani has we have a little clip of Johnny Armani talking about Bobby.
You know damn well that she's lonely. She gets home from work, throws down her purse, kicks off her high heels, grabs that first bottle of Chardonnay or White Zin that she sees, pours in a glass, and then bitches about how bad she sucked today at work.
That was about Bobby. That's true.
When she lost that match last week.
That's a true story. She came home. She was all pissed off. She had a job out to a fake fight, and she had a glass of Chardonnay. So.
Or White Zin.
Or White Zin.
Whatever was there.
How about Johnny Armani? Johnny Armani's friend asked him why he wasn't in the WWE this week.
Yeah, he had a post saying that his friend just couldn't believe he never made it to the Fed, and he can't believe it either.
I can believe it.
I'll tell you what, Johnny, your tape made it to the hands of Kevin Kelly, and then Jason Rain squashed it. So.
And on that note, we got a break. This break's brought to you by Vito Tomaselli.
You gotta set it up. What did you go with?
Vito from McHenry Writes.
Vito from McHenry Writes. Actually, mine's a little more somber. I have I like R&B from this time frame more than let's call it hip hop, if you will. So this is Jodeci redoing. I believe it's a Stevie Wonder song, but I could be wrong.
It's called not pull this song.
It's called Lately, and it's one of the coolest fucking songs ever. And then Boys II Men, End of the Road. I mean, how do you not do it? So.
I figured you were doing Boys II Men, so I had to stay away from because you had mentioned them, so I knew that you already had a song in mind, so I stayed away from.
Oh yeah.
I remember it was American Idol. I think lately one of the cast members sang that song. And you're like, dude, I got the greatest version of this song, and I'm like, I don't know about that. And you played me this version. I was like, oh,
yeah. And this is from an MTV Live special they did on a New Year's Eve special or something. It's really awesome. And this is the same song on the television show Martin. Anybody familiar with Martin? He went to L.A. for a job. He was trying to get.
Did you miss me?
Yeah, did you miss me? That guy was going to get him a job.
Davidson.
Yeah, Tommy Davidson. So he goes out there and he's waiting in Tommy Davidson's stands as a fan, and he's trying to get on the show, and he keeps telling all his friends no, I'm getting on soon, and they all didn't believe him from the begin with. So Jodeci's the last act on. So Martin's going to get his one-uppins, and he fucking gets on. And so Jodeci's in the middle of singing, and Martin kicks the door down and starts singing his version of Lately, and it's really fucking funny. So type in Jodeci and Martin, and I think you'll have a riot. But yeah, we'll be back after this.
This break's brought to you by Vito Tomaselli.
Some of you might know this song. It's an oldie but goodie. And if you know it, feel free to sing along with me and KC tonight. KC. With no very reason here to find, but yet the thought of losing you've been hanging around my mind. Casey is singing
Far more frequently you're wearing perfume, and with you say no special place to go. But when I ask will you be coming back soon, you don't know. Never know.
I'm a man of many wishes. Hope my premonition misses. But what I really feel, my eyes won't let me hide. 'Cause the way starts to cry.
'Cause this time could mean goodbye. Oh, you want to tell me, yeah.
Lately I've been staring in the mirror, very slowly picking me apart. Said I'm trying to tell myself that I have no reason. With your heart, can't see.
Now, just the other night while you were sleeping, I vaguely heard you whisper someone's name. But when I ask you what the thoughts you keeping, you just said nothing.
Man of many wishes, hope my premonition misses. But what I really feel, my eyes won't let me hide. 'Cause the always starts to cry. Yeah, baby. 'Cause this time could mean what I really feel, my eyes won't let me hide. 'Cause they always come to cry. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they could mean goodbye. They could be goodbye. They could be goodbye. Ooh, yeah. Thank you.
We belong together, and you know that I'm right. Why do you play with my heart? Why do you play with my mind? Said we'd be forever, realize you've never been there before. It's only your first time. Maybe I'll forgive you. Maybe you'll try. We shouldn't be happy together forever. You and I. Love me again like you loved me before. This time I want you to love me much more. This time again, just come to my bed and maybe just don't let me down. Although we're down to the down the road, end of the road, still I can't. End of the road, I know I gotta let go, baby. Such a shame. You belong to me, I belong to you.
Girl, I'm here for you. All those times at night when you just hurt me and just ran out with that other fella. Baby, I knew about it. I just didn't care. You just don't understand how much I love you, do you? I'm here for you. I'm not out to go out there and cheat all night, just like you did, baby, but that's alright. I love you anyway. And I'm still gonna be here for you to my dying day, baby. Right now, I'm just in so much pain, baby, because you just won't come back to me. Will you? Just come back to me. Yes, baby, my heart is lonely. My heart hurts, baby. Yes, I feel pain too. Baby, please.
We're back live. I was jamming. Sorry, guys.
Whole commercial
Wait,
break.
what?
Vito's been marking out this whole commercial break.
It is completely impossible to hate that Boyz II Men song. I hated that first song you played, I'll be honest with you.
Oh,
I know
fuck
it
you.
reminded me- I did
Jodeci.
not enjoy that Casey and JoJo song at all, but it is impossible, physically impossible to hate that Boyz II Men song.
Dude, but there's one part that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And I'm going to go back to just because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So, like, okay, so you're a cool black dude, right? Obviously, all black dudes are cool. So, like, he knows his girlfriend's cheating on him, but he doesn't care.
No.
Right? And
No.
then out of nowhere, they start harmonizing.
All that time went out that other fella.
Yeah.
I just laid
and
in
I just
bed.
and I just didn't care. And like
I'm here for you.
Like it's one thing, and then the harmonizing comes in the background. It's one of the coolest songs ever. So just one more second of that. Here we go. Girl, I'm here for you, even though you sucked a dick. Oh, terrible. He knew about it. He didn't give a fuck. Now, here we go. You ready for the harmonizing? Maybe he'll forgive her. Maybe he'll care.
Dude, that guy's got issues.
Oh, my God. Just fucking great. Yeah, so I was driving in my car, and on my Pandora, I was listening to the shuffle, obviously. And this song came on, and I was fucking singing it like it was like I was them, basically. And had the windows down. I had the sunroof open. My daughter was in the back. She was jamming with me. And that's when I made the call, Ben. I was like, we need a theme break. Because I had no other reason to play Boyz II Men End of the Road besides on this episode.
Could I get an honorable mention for the Bone Thugs and Harmony classic Crossroads out there?
Oh, well, I mean, dude, look
You at the crossroads.
let me ask a question. Which version
I was
of
just
it?
going to ask that. Which version?
Yeah, which version? Because there's two versions of it, Brooks.
Why do you hate that song?
I hate Bone Thugs and Harmony.
You're fired, Ben.
Yeah, guess what? Step in my office. You're fucking fired.
No, sorry. I have never, ever been a fan of Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Actually, our last show, the Happy Days tour, who was it? Was it Busy Bone? Rap?
Yeah, we actually did a show with Bone Thugs and Harmony the last night on the tour, and there was two guys that were in Bone Thugs and Harmony, and the other guys had hoodies over their head pretending to be Bone Thugs, and it was not Bone Thugs and Harmony.
No shit.
Oh, yeah,
See,
and
there's another reason to hate Bone Thugs.
Well, they're all in prison, so they can't really do it together, so it's kind of hard.
How they do.
But there is two versions of Crossroads. On the original album they had, it was a different song, completely a different song, and then they rewrote this as more of a commercial hit. But, I mean, you can't just ask for it on the show without getting it. Former black dudes.
You're on ITR Live.
Kick it in, asshole.
Kick it in, cocksuckers. Intro violation.
We tell them of the night to move. Martha, don't you move.
Listen to this beat when it kicks in. It's so good. It's so good. Oh shit! I just got goosebumps.
I'm gonna hate this.
Yeah, how?
I feel like I'm 10 years old all over again.
You're not a former black guy.
Right.
God bless you, working on a plan to heaven. Follow the Lord on 24/7 days. God is who we praise, even though the devil's all up in my face, but he keeping me safe and in my place. Say grace to the gates we race, without a change to face the judge. And it blesses my soul with books. Grudge because there's no mercy for thugs. Ooh, what can I do? It's all about the family and how we grow. Can I get a witness? Let it unfold. We live in our lives, so we turn our soul. Hey, hey.
This is just good stuff.
It's awesome.
Yeah, we're watching the video right now. So sorry, guys.
So Ben, articulate why you don't like these guys. Did you not like them back then, so you don't like them now, or can you listen to this and go, "This is good rap"?
I can articulate my reason. I don't like fast rap, and these guys are like 5 guys trying to rap as fast as possible. If your name's not Busta Rhymes, I don't want to hear it.
You don't think Busy Bone's a good rapper?
No, I don't think any of them. I think they rap fast and they rap to the beat. So what they're saying, you can't understand half the shit they're saying.
Well, it's one guy that raps fast. Each guy kind of has their own deal, much like an NWA or something.
They're all very similar. Very similar.
Is this fast?
Well, no, this is the hook.
Okay. Here we go. Oh, of course, right back into the second part of the hook. Never mind. No, they're awesome, dude. I love them coming up. East 1999 is still a great fucking album.
I know I'm in the minority on this one, but
they're gonna miss everybody.
I would shit on this if we were doing the countdown.
All right. Fine, man. Not going to change your mind.
You're not.
I'll try still to get
like
you the
rap
vote.
music. I don't like fast rap. I don't like it.
Yeah, but isn't Lil Wayne a little bit of a fast rapper? I mean, am I making that up?
I understand every word he says.
You can't understand every word you guys are saying, really?
I cannot understand every word Lil Wayne says.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of training your ears.
I can sing every word in this song, so I must be hearing something different than you're hearing. Here, is this fast?
I don't like it. I don't like any of that.
You got Eazy-E walking around as a ghost? How do you not like this?
Who wasn't this? They redid the song as a tribute to Eazy, right?
Awesome.
Yeah, this is a tribute to Eazy. Fucking A. Crossroads. God damn it. Yeah.
Oh, thugs.
Let me see if I can find the
And
original.
they brought the harmony.
Well, why would they not? I mean, that's the only way they know how to do it. So here we go. This is
the other song that I was thinking of, I couldn't find a good version of was Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison. That was also one that it was right there with No Diggity.
I thought we were going to have like gin and juice and stuff like that tonight.
We could have. We definitely could have. So this is the original version. This is the original Crossroads. It's a complete different song. You ever heard this song before, Brooks?
I think I have, but that's probably not, to be honest with you. I don't know. I didn't actually, probably not.
Yeah, it was on the East 1999 album at the very end.
If I were to have played this in a club as opposed to the other one, people would be like, what the hell?
Do you ever get that request for Crossroads and where you're at now?
No, I'm not DJing right now, which is I'm very thankful for. But it'd be one of those things where like I like this song, so you're gonna get some Bone Thugs because I'm gonna play one song a night that I like, just so I know I haven't completely sold my soul to you.
And here comes Shot.
Shot. Yeah. Hey, can you turn that '90s shit off and play Shots for us?
What's this Boys the Men fag shit? Big Shot.
Yeah. What are you, a former black dude? Turn on some shots for us. Wow.
That's what happens. I need a break from that. So dealing with drunk people is terrible. Dealing with people who somehow I went out last. Speaking of drunk people, the other night I went out with some work friends and we met them out in a bar in Wilmington, and we're just kind of sitting around. There's like 3 chicks, 2 dudes, then 3 dudes, and then one of our coworkers is the bartender there, and this good old country boy walks in, and he's already hammered. He's spitting everywhere. And he walks right up to my coworker, who's the bartender, and I want to buy everybody in the bar a shot. And I mean, there are probably 20 people in there. And Angela, the bartender, is like, "Are you sure?" And it trailed off as he started like talking to one of the many beautiful women that I work with. But this guy, you could see it right then and there was a fight waiting to happen, and hated the music because we were playing some Snoop and Dr. Dre and stuff like that, some old school 90s rap, and oh my God, such an asshole. So it was like the cook wanted to beat his ass. They closed the kitchen. The cook was out drinking, and the cook was like, "Man, I've been to jail before. I would beat that guy." And I was just like, I hate drunk people in a bar so much.
I find most cooks have been to jail before.
If you watch Food Network, most people that compete on Chopped are like formerly prison people, and they learned how to cook in prison.
Because they get really good with a knife in prison.
Yeah, or there's nothing else to do but learn to cook. So.
Well, hey, let me reset because we didn't get to reset at the top of the hour. This is hour number 3 of In the Rotation, episode 63, Former Black Dudes. I am your host, Ben Jordan, along with Vito Tomaselli. In the sidecars, as always, Paulie Tomaselli and Professor Mike Brooks. We'll be getting to Brooks' brand new segment with an intro and everything, bullshitting with Brooks, coming up later on in this hour. Coming up in just a few minutes, Storm Maverick with the Advice Show, so stay tuned. Before we do that, though, let's plug the sponsors. Our first sponsor is Death Grip Clothing. Check them out at deathgripclothing.com for all your t-shirt, hat, and hoodie needs. Also, Two Fat Guys Barbecue Sauce. I love twofatguys.com. We can't put it over enough. It's the best shit you will ever taste. And also, Paulie Tomaselli's Gear Marks. Hit them up at facebook.com/Paulie Tomaselli. Mention ITR Live and you get free shipping. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, there you go. I got
correct.
it right. See, I remembered. Free shipping if you remember ITR Live. And check them out. Like
hey, Ben, do you want to know what free shipping means?
No.
That means I'll meet you at a show near you and I'll give it to you.
Or I'll just jack up the price.
Or the gear costs an extra $30.
Yeah.
The quote.
Fuck you guys.
Extra 15. Yeah, it's like someone hits up Brandon. Someone hits up Brandon and they go, "I need some gear." He goes, "Okay, cool. What are you looking for?" "Oh, I want stars on some trunks with my name," because that's what everybody orders, I'm sure. They go, "I'd like some stars," and I heard you on ITR. Brandon goes, "Okay, extra $15, carry the one." So your tights basically went from $75 to fuck it, carry $110.
You're a dick. It's not like that.
Free shipping.
Oh, yeah, you're totally just shitting on his deal, man.
No,
Yeah.
I'm
sorry, it's not the 80-20 finishing school that we talked about for 4 fucking months.
Hey, by the way, we like we advertised last week, we've changed it. It's about fucking now. It's the fucking school.
Fucking school.
Yeah, the 80-20 fucking school.
Remember, week 2 is finger bang lessons. I will be there live.
Full on finger bang. So bring your gloves and bring your favorite lube. Yeah.
Taught by the click command.
You will learn how to squirt or your money back. So.
Kegel muscle training has nothing like that.
Yeah.
Somebody please sign up for the Vito Tomaselli 80-20
Hey,
fucking school.
all kidding aside, I will teach a finger fucking school in 2 seconds. I think that's fun.
And like
bring
we
your
said,
girlfriend.
Like we said, you get The red pill re-up.
Yeah, you get the re-up because we talked a lot about episode 45 on the re-up.
You get the Farrah DVD.
The Farrah, Teen Mom. It's an hour long,
and you get 3-hour sessions with me and Vito.
Yeah, with the King of the Finger Bang and I Love My Cock, as I'm preferably known in the sexual industry.
Yeah.
So we will not only teach you how to make yourself come fast and her slow, if you will. That's our slogan.
And you also get a copy of Adam Sandler's Medium Pace.
Fast, she'll come slow.
Yeah, and in the background, Adam Sandler's Medium Pace will be playing the entire time. So bring your condoms, bring your fingers, and bring your fun, if you will. So
and your money.
The money comes first, then we do everything else.
And for an additional $35 per person, whether you're bringing a girlfriend or not, we might do a 4th week where we teach anal.
Yeah. Brandon, talk about anal.
Well, I like to shove a pinky in first.
Yeah, you always get a pinky. You make the muscle go while you're licking. Don't stab. No. Unless she's into it. Some chicks might be into the stabbing.
Guys, you're giving it away.
Oh, trust me, we have so many more tricks. That's nothing. The first trick is how to bat her over the head and sneak her into your car. That's the first trick, and there's so much to that. It's not just an easy. Well, that's what you do. I mean, for like the famous one
when you're in public, there's a subtle way to do this.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you. One time we talked about it on the show before. We were walking out of a bar in LaSalle, which I'm not joking. If you have a hard time fingering girls or getting girls to let you finger them, go to LaSalle
and find Michelle.
Yeah, just swing a dead cat, and the first one it hits, she'll let you finger her. That's pretty much how it goes.
$20 bill accidentally sticking out of your front pocket.
Absolutely. Yeah, not even they might pay you. That's how loyal these bitches
are. It was
are.
as simple as Vito going, who are you talking to?
So we walk out of this bar, and this girl's on her phone, and she's talking. I believe she was talking like the babysitter. She was like, "Oh, I'll be home in a half hour. Just put Timmy to bed or whatever the fuck, right?" So I my spidey senses pick up right away, and I start talking to her, and she thinks we're funny. So the minute you say something to a girl and she smirks back, the fucking's on.
Like you said, the opening line was, "Hey, whatever that is, we're way better than that. Come with us."
Exactly. And she goes, "Okay." She hangs her phone up and starts following us. Now, we don't know this girl. We don't know her name. We have no idea anything about her whatsoever.
And her friend Christina Ricci was with her.
Yeah, the girl looked just like Christina Ricci. Yeah. Seriously. So we were like down. We had the blonde Michelle.
I fucked both of them that night.
You did. The girl Michelle that was on the phone. Remember that movie? Man, I can't think of it. She's like the blonde haired girl. And she's gonna drive me crazy. She's like around Seth Rogen or whatever the fuck.
Oh yeah. This is 40.
Yeah, this is 40.
It's Judd Apatow's wife.
Exactly. In the movie, she looked a lot like her.
In 40, not 40 version. In Knocked Up, she's the older sister.
Yeah, she's the sister of the girl that gets knocked up. Right. Yeah. So she's the curly blonde hair bitch. She looked exactly like her. I mean, exactly like her. So I'm hitting on her, and she's digging me, and we're having a good time.
Christina Ricci.
Right. Brandon's with Christina Ricci. So out of nowhere, I turn left, I turn right, and she's gone. I'm like, what?
Well, this was the second time we went down there with them.
Oh, it wasn't the same night?
No, the first time we went down there, we went back to her house, and you guys kind of made it on the couch a little bit, and I went and fooled around with Christina Ricci a little bit.
Okay.
Then we go down there again, because remember we told her...
I thought this was all the same night.
No, this was a couple different times. And she thought I was funny because I said my name was Cliff Clavin.
Okay. See how easy these broads are?
Yeah, cheers, awesome. So yeah, Cliff Clavin's coming down, let's hang out. And then the next time we go down there...
I look left, I look right, everybody's gone. I'm left in this bar by myself.
With a 300-pound fat chick.
So there's this 300-pound fat chick who was really good friends with Jay Repsol's wife, who I had fucked on a previous occasion down there.
After she bought you luggage.
Luggage and clothes.
Yeah.
She bought me my first $200 pair of jeans I ever owned, and I swear to God, they were the best jeans I ever had in my life. So even Sal was like, really? You have bitches buying you clothes? Yep. Jay Repsol's wife. Thanks, Jay, for paying for that. I appreciate it. So we're down there, and I look left, look right. Everybody's gone. So I go to the bar, and it's like almost closing time. So you just literally grab the nearest girl and walk her outside because your dick's got to get sucked. I mean, we drove 2 hours.
Right.
So I start hitting on her. She's down with me because I was, but I can't do this because I'm Jessica's friend and blah, 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 blah. So
sure you can.
I said,
You're
hey,
a good girl.
Take me to get some food. So she takes me we get in the car. And before we leave the parking lot, I'm like, you want to make out? She goes,
that chick's heart.
Really? And she looks at me. I go, yeah, I'm kind of, it's the end of the night. Why don't we make out a little bit? And she goes, okay. So I just start, and I'm not kidding. This girl was fucking huge. She was the biggest girl that I ever fooled around with. But you know what, though? At that point, I was kind of like, Hey, so what? I never fucked around with a fan. Like, it wasn't like I wasn't like down.
I might like this.
I wasn't down on myself. I'm just like, fuck it. Let's see what this is all about.
Meanwhile, I fucked 2
Hold
bitches that
on.
night, and Vito fucked 1 chick that was the size of 2 bitches.
Good point. Good point. Good point. Good point. So now, like, I'm taking the experience for all it's worth. I want to go up her shirt. I want to go down her pants. I want to feel the whole thing. I want to know.
Sweaty underneath the tits.
And I wanted to know about all that, right? So I go up her shirt, huge tits, the whole deal. I'm like, this isn't really all that bad, right? So we climb in the back seat, and she starts blowing me, which every good girl does. So, loyals, and she was really good at it too. I mean, she was just like, "What the fuck? I can't believe I'm sucking a dick," and she was going to town on it. So I told her, I go, "Hey, look, if you keep doing what you're doing, I'm gonna come. So I think we should start fucking." And she was like, "Okay." So she goes to lay down, and I was like, climb on. Like I wanted to feel the rush, if you will. I wanted to feel a big girl. I wanted to feel it, So she gave me the look like, really? Like no one's ever asked for that before. No one's ever asked for that before. So sure as shit, she climbed on top, and it was like a Cadillac was fucking me. Seriously.
And I banged Christina Ricci.
But I'll tell you what though, I never came so fucking fast and hard. There's something to that weight thing. There's something to gravity when it comes to fucking.
It's gripping onto the big ass, behind it.
And then from that point forward, I respected big girls. I was like, God damn, you're a sexy big girl.
I've had my fair share of fat chicks.
So then now I've came. So now the dick in me comes out because I'm not the nice guy anymore because I've just came. So
the Tommy Drake, if you will.
Yeah. So we go to have lunch or dinner, lunch, breakfast, whatever it's called, and we're eating. And now I'm pissed because we can't find Brandon. And we always had a rule: around 3 a.m. we have to communicate where we are because we have a 2-hour drive home. So we have to know
and meet at the car by 8 a.m.
Yeah, we have to know where we're all at. So I'm not hearing from Brandon, and I knew he left with, I'm assuming, the girl I was supposedly fucking, who was the skinny blonde girl, who later I found out was into anal. Anyways, so from Brandon. So we're sitting there, and I'm getting madder and madder. I'm like, where's Brandon? And I'm cutting a promo because I had a bunch of Jack Daniels that night. And now she realizes that I don't give a shit about her anymore. And she's like, who cares? Like, let's just have a good dinner.
Cuddle.
Yeah, she wanted to cuddle after the fucking thing and have a smoke. Only I didn't smoke cigarettes, and I was ready to go home. So 3 hours go by, and fucking cockhound Brandon finally comes around the corner.
I was steel cock.
Yeah, steel cock Brandon over here comes around the corner in his car, got this big ass smile on his face. We get in the car, and we start driving home. And he's like, well, so I was fucking her, and she just turned around and she goes, stick it in my ass. So go ahead, Brandon. Tell us how you stuck it in her fucking ass. Go ahead, asshole. That was my ass to fuck, by the way.
I'm trying to catch my breath.
Yeah, that would have been me, but instead I had the Cadillac.
So the night starts off, I'm fucking Christina Ricci in Michela's bed.
Perfect.
And then...
Wait, now why did you guys blow me off to begin with? Because you knew you could cram both of them? Kinda.
It was where's he at? I don't know. Let's just go.
I'm in the bar. It's like a 1,200 square foot bar.
You went to the bathroom or something.
Oh, right, the bathroom.
I was like, I don't know. Let's just go.
That old gag.
So we get there. Michelle goes, I'm going to go on my son's bed. You guys just have fun. I'm like, okay, cool. So midway through fucking Christina Ricci, I had to piss because I drank also a lot of Jack Daniels that night.
Talk about you're not really fucking when you have to piss.
No. It's all, I got to piss. So I tell Christina Ricci, stay right here. I'll be right back. So as I go to get in the bathroom, Michela's just leaving the bathroom. I'm like, you stay right here. I piss. I pull Michelle into the other room, and then I just start
banging away on her, too. Talk about a good friend.
Then I hear boom, 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 boom on the door. What the fuck is going on in here? I'm like, don't worry. I'll be right back to you. And then, of course, she was pissed, wanted to leave. Michelle wanted to go. I go, no, come on, let's keep fucking. And that's when she turns around and she goes, just fuck me in the ass then.
Fair enough.
Okay. Blamp, 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 blamp. Blort.
Let's get the fuck out. Blort.
Then it was. That's when I look at the phone and go, oh, fuck, I got to meet Vito. Let's go.
Yeah. So, if you were smart, when she was banging on the door, you should have just said, come in.
Dude, listen. I was inside of a chick's asshole, all right?
That's a good point.
I did. It was the first time. It was the most glorious thing I'd ever happened.
Blort. And is there a funnier word than blort, by the way?
All right, guys. As funny as that is, we're going to run out of time to get to our other two segments.
Blort.
Yo, Adrian, I did it. I nutted. Has she called you Rocky during sex at all in this past week, Ben?
No.
Give it to me, Rock.
Give it to me, Rock.
No, nothing.
No.
Anal.
Get the Storm Maverick assholes.
Hey, Adrian, if you're listening, please, at some point, just do it to fuck with his head. It'd be
Yes.
really funny. All right. So here we go. This six.
And then call him Paulie.
I do kind of got to set this up a little bit because there's some truth to one of these advice shows that I do got to put out there. Steve Boz writes in with a very good, questions about him and Shawn Michaels, which there's some truth to that. And then Mike Brooks, thanks Mike for writing into Storm Maverick. He answered your question that you've been, waiting to ask him all week. And then Tommy Drake writes in with a very real story. What he reads about Tommy Drake is a real story that did take place, except for the very end. That was my adding. But anyways, so here's the advice show.
That was Tommy Drake's adding. What are you talking about?
You know what I'm saying. Iggy. I'm sure everyone on the show is well aware of how this advice show works. So here we go. Coming in on the backside, we do have a Bullshit with Brooks segment. Please stay tuned. Third hour, the power hour, is always the most fun hour, if you will. Here we go.
Whiskey hour.
It is the whiskey hour. Very good point. Very good point, Professor Brooks. Boom.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of The Advice Show, starring yours truly, Storm Maverick. Got a couple of submissions, and please, thank you so much. Guys, just keep sending those submissions every single week. It makes me easier to give advice if you ask questions, so make sure you send them. But we got not one, but two submissions today, and here we go. It says here, hi, Storm Maverick. It's your dude, Steve Boz. I have a serious...
You knew Steve Boz would write in Carney, right?
Of course.
That's how you know it's really Steve Boz.
Absolutely. And we do got to say, guys, we do cut the advice show off and on. So in the coming weeks, you will have an uncooked, uncut, uncensored, uninterrupted version of the advice show. We're 36 minutes in of recorded episodes. When we get to an hour, you'll get a full show. Fair enough, guys?
Works for me.
Situation with Shawn Michaels. I think he's totally H-O-T hot. Anyways, I'm also an indie wrestler. Some say I look just like Shawn. I totally agree. Part of me thinks I thank him so much because he look like twins. I like it so much because we look like twins. Okay. I steal 100% of Heartbreak's moves when I'm in the ring. Is that okay? Alright, let me go ahead and answer that before I read the rest of this. I think that you need a new gimmick. The Heartbreak Kid's already been done. The sweet shit music, praying to God before he enters.
Even he knows.
Even Storm Maverick knows.
That's the best advice ever. I mean, ever. Not like you should have the abortion or maybe you should get that looked at. No. You should get your own gimmick.
Coming from Storm Maverick, I think it's the greatest advice he's ever given.
That's it. It's like, no, Mr. President, we shouldn't push the button. You should get a new gimmick.
Just a ring with the fireworks behind him or saying to suck it. When you team it up with Triple H, that's already been done. Be original. Like, I know my name's not too original, but I didn't know that many Storm Mavericks. I know a lot of people have the last name Storm, but that's my first name.
Oh.
But I should have thought something else other than Maverick, but I already have music out everywhere and stuff like that, which you can even listen to on Spotify for free. To check that out. So I can't really change my name. But at least, and my gimmick's probably not that original too, as the rock star, wearing.
Like, he starts putting himself down in the midst of putting Steve Boz.
He's a humble man, is what he is.
He is, and Storm,
give advice.
Storm, if you're listening, you are original, motherfucker. You're the most original cat on the planet. Keep doing. Do not change a thing about yourself.
Absolutely not. We're in the process of trying to help you get viral because you deserve it. This
Yeah.
is incredible stuff we're doing.
I'm telling you, he is one device show away from Gary Delabate finding this and turning him right onto Howard Stern and him being all over that show. By the way.
Yes.
Yep.
Porn star, porno star jackets, and just doing my thing, you know. But at least don't be called Shawn Michaels, like your Dave Michaels. Oh, who am I kidding? People copy gimmicks all the time. I even wrestled for $5 Wrestling, the pay-per-view, the live internet pay-per-view of which had Freight Train versus Big Donnie, if you heard of it. And I wrestled a guy, you may have heard of him, his name is Jeff Hart. I mean,
Nope.
if that's not a copycat, he wears pink and black and does the sharpshooter, even though for a match he did the Boston Crab.
What's that?
Did he say soft shooter?
I hope so.
Oh, that's going to be my new finisher.
the soft shooter.
I want to put you into soft shooter.
Yeah. What's that, Mike?
AKA the Chris Jericho's finisher move, the Walls of Jericho, but he should have done the sharpshooter. But anyways, copying gimmicks, try not to. At least I put in a spear and the figure for a leg lock, and I don't know that many rock stars doing the figure for a leg lock. And the Miz is not, well, I don't know what you consider the Miz, but I'm an actual musician, so I can get away with the rock star gimmick. Anyways, as for being attracted to the guy, sure, why not? You may have his play girl. I never want to look at it because I'm straight. But if you're gay, why not look at it? Why not enjoy your sexuality? Don't let people try to push you down on who you are on the inside. If you're gay, you're gay. Just don't masturbate to my pictures and we would be okay. Now let me read the rest of this. Every time I hit sweet chin music, the little boy in me totally marks out for myself. My question is, I got my dick stuck in a shampoo bottle. What should I do? Go to the doctor. And I'm recording this a few days before. By this time, if you haven't gone to the doctor yet, which common sense would tell you to do, you may have cut off the circulation of blood to your dick, and you may be in a lot of trouble right now. Just saying. Anyways, thank you for that submission. Let me scroll down here. Oh, wait a minute. There's more here. Sincerely, HBK Boss. One more, Storm. Mike Brooks asks, hey, Storm, what's your number day consist of, and do you eat Kraft macaroni and cheese, or are you more of a Velveeta guy?
Great question, Mike. Do you want to explain where you came up with that at?
I have nothing to do with that question at all.
You actually asked that question on the air.
Yeah,
that
you
was
did.
An actual question. Yeah.
Last week on the show, you
That's
asked.
the question that you posed.
Yeah, you asked that question last week on the show, so we put it down on paper.
All right. So he's gonna answer. This is great. This is fantastic. Let's hear this.
And what his normal days like? Remember, we were talking about his grocery list and
Instant
whatnot.
reaction.
And what is
I like all types of pasta, so you could give me both. Kraft, Velveeta, you could give me turcanini, you could give me fettuccine, you could give me spaghetti, it don't matter to me. But anyways, and that other question was, what's your number day consist of? It consists of, well, looking for a real job other than wrestling and music, because I'm in the indie circuit of both and not making that much money on either one. Actually, I'll be so very honest with you, I haven't even got paid yet to wrestle and only sold a few albums. So if you can help me out and check out my music, look it out on Spotify, you would dig it.
Now, mind you, he just said to go to Spotify to buy his music, but earlier he said that you can get it for free. So which is it? Can you get it for free or do you got to buy it?
It was on iTunes as well.
It was on iTunes. And I tell anybody anybody listening, go buy this guy's stuff. Support Storm Maverick. Keep him busy. I mean, he puts a lot of effort into these shows, and I think he's worth every red cent you could send him.
What did I say? Like, I'm going to write him a check for like $3.27.
It was $3.73 is exactly.
Okay, $3.73. Once we get the 10 shows or 10 episodes with
Yep.
him.
And we're at 6.
Okay.
So.
Okay, I'm happy to do it.
Now let me ask you a question: is it 10 times it? With if I did the math, that's like $100.
No. Per show.
Wait. How is 10 times $3.73 $100?
Here, I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you right now. Let me take my shoes off. So $3.75 times 10. It's easy. 1, carry the 6, round the 2, add the 7. Yeah, $110.44.
Oh, that's the whiskey talking.
No, it's actually Storm Maverick added it up for me.
Paid salesperson talking.
You like that? Commissions are commissions. So here we go.
Back to Storm Maverick.
Dig it. So indie wrestler, indie musician here, try to say, put my stuff out there. As far as my day is concerned, other than not finding a job because there are no jobs where I'm at in Garner, North Carolina. Well, I get up, I watch the news, I play the guitar, or I would produce on the laptop. But if I'm not doing that, right now I am a gamer too. I'm a video gamer.
He's a video gamer, guys. So I want to pose this question before he answers it. 2 questions: what system and what game is he currently playing right now? Ben?
He is okay. Go
Xbox or
I would
PS3?
say he is Xbox.
Okay.
And then I'm going to say the game is Grand Theft Auto. I think that's the easy one.
Okay, and Brooks?
Sega Dreamcast, Crazy Taxi 2.
Okay, here we go.
I am definitely playing the Nintendo 64 games of Zelda. And
I was much closer than Ben.
Nintendo 64. People still play Nintendo 64?
Oh, those Ocarina of Time. Wait. We play. You up the nerds with this cue sound effect right now because one of the best ever Zelda games came out for the N64.
Is what, Brooks?
It's one of the best Zelda games of all time.
Get those nerds!
No, really. I'm harmless. No, come on.
Get those
N64? You're talking about WWE No Mercy.
Only good game that.
Perfect Dark, if you really want to get into another one.
Get
another
those nerds!
All right, back to Storm Maverick.
And I like doing that in my spare time. Just playing that is awesome. I like Zelda. Zelda: A Link to the Past, good game. I work out too. So, yeah, that's basically, I just stay busy. And I hang out with friends. I go out a lot, play tennis, or I go to bars, do karaoke.
Which, by the way, can we please, Storm, if you're listening, will you please just do some karaoke for us? Please?
I was thinking we should bring him in, and we should work out with him, and we should go drinking and do karaoke with him afterwards.
How fast would you fly home, Ben, and Brooks, would you drive to McHenry if I had Storm Maverick here to go out and hang out and play tennis?
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
please, let me know what happens, and I will do what I have to. I'll drive back, and I never said I would drive back ever again. I would drive back.
The problem is, though, Ben, then Monday you'd have to drive back home. That's the issue at hand.
Understood. Yeah, I'm not thinking this through, but hang out with Storm Maverick and drink and do karaoke and work out. I don't even work out, but I would go work out with Storm Maverick.
Absolutely.
It's with Storm Maverick. I want to on a bench and
Yes.
squat with
Yes.
Storm.
And then I want to go do karaoke with him really bad. What do you think his favorite karaoke song to do is?
Oh, that's a listener submission right there. Somebody out there that's listening.
Exactly. Someone needs to write in and ask. Yeah. Let's just say that someone needs to write in and ask, and we'll leave it at that.
Somebody might a little birdie just told me that might be on episode 7. So
excellent.
Also, in my spare time, I'm hanging out with cute girls at church on Tuesday and Wednesday.
he hangs out with cute girls at church.
Of course he does.
You know what, though? Honestly, that's the best place to meet chicks, I think, is church, because they trust you immediately because you're at church with them. And then you can take advantage of them.
Yes. Then you can corrupt them.
The altar boys.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. Good girls are good too, as well as the bad girls. Yeah. But anyways, that'll meet at bars. But anyways, I got another one for you. Thank you, HBK Boss, for that. Now on to the next one. This is from a guy named Tommy Drake. He says, "Hey, Stormy, Tommy Drake here. I need some advice, and you're the guy to give it. My wife's a total fag hag. All her friends are gay. Recently, her friend, Bodacious Brad, told her something about me I've been keeping a secret for years. See, I try Craigslist for dudes. They just blow me. I never touch them, so I'm totally straight. Anyways, Brad found my Craigslist ad and told my wife about it. So when she confronted me, I totally lied and said someone stole my identity. So I let a week go by and I paid a Bodacious Brad a visit. First I made him blow me, like any straight guy would do. After I shot my goo in his face, I then shot him 3 times in the chest with my handgun. My question to you is, what's the best way to chop up a body and dispose of it? This did happen today, so I'm looking for your advice ASAP. Thanks, Cutie."
Thanks, Cutie.
Oh my god, that's
This
so
just
great. That's a
happened
true story,
today,
too.
so I needed ace.
Imagine you kill somebody and your first reaction is to hit up Storm Maverick to find out what to do.
After that moment of like, all the adrenaline's left your body, the sheer terror of what you just did is setting in. And it's like Pulp Fiction. You know, they called the wolf. What we call Storm Maverick. Call Storm Maverick.
So here's his advice. I'm sure it's great.
Well, that is the interesting question you just gave me.
To say the least.
Way to overstate that one.
Can we ever flap this guy up? Like, what's the question where he's going to go, I'm not answering that.
Oh, the listeners out there. Please, let's try to push the boundaries here.
If we could somehow get more extreme than killing somebody, please, that would be great. If we could somehow figure that out on the advice show.
I say, wow, that's big, man. I never disposed of a body before. It's hard to help you here. You kind of far-fetched for me giving you advice and saying not to worry about it. It's a joke, but you played it off as letting him do homosexual acts on you, which is fine. But I don't know about shooting a guy 3 times in the heart with a gun. If you get caught and gave you my name, your name to me, and I just broadcast on air, you screwed, dude. Best way to dispose of a body, I would guess, put it in a trash bag and burn it. I don't know. Find some alligators and feed them.
That's actually really good advice when you think about it. Like if you lived in the Everglades and you killed somebody, just take it down by an alligator, right? Brooks, you're muted.
Take it to the swamp.
Don't kill anyone unless you're in Florida.
Right, exactly. So if you're in Florida, kill somebody, and then you take them to the Everglades. Done.
Done deal, pal.
Done deal. And here's the deal. Don't bring your cell phone because they can track that shit. They know where you're at. So just kill them, bring them down by the swamp, cut their arm off, feed it to the alligator. Done. Everybody wins, right?
Storm Maverick. That is why you call Storm Maverick or write Storm Maverick.
Yes.
Immediately after killing someone, Brooks. He is like the wolf.
And he always answers he answers the viewers, not the listeners, by the way. So
right.
The viewers.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah. He always references the viewers, which I think is fucking great. So
He's aware that they're, of his reach and the potential of his advice to affect more than just the person who asked for it.
Remember, just like Jeff from the Mac said, he's changing lives one advice show at a time. So,
this is the honest to God's truth.
I don't know. I seriously do not know how to help you here. This is far, far fetched. I would never even think of murdering somebody, let alone dispose of a body. I'm lucky to say I've never worked for the mafia before, so no worries. I can't help you, man. My bad. Anyways, that is it for me today on The Advice Show, starring yours truly, Storm Maverick. You can...
There he is. You can also find him anywhere on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and I suggest going out there and spending the money. He's well worth it, and he will always bring the goods your way. Right, guys?
Absolutely. So we're running up against the clock, so we've got to go right from Storm Maverick because we've got new audio to play. It's a new segment. We debuted it a couple of weeks ago, but now it's official because it's got an intro.
Yeah, beta test. And it tested really high in urban markets. So for Former Black Guy, this has to be played tonight. Has to be. Right?
Yes. That's what we're going for here.
Here we go.
2 most secure places on the planet. I'm a huge fan of the clitoris. Right here, huge fan. Where we are in our nation, and given the times that we're in, where cops are going to have a short trigger finger, a voice to the voiceless.
It's time for Reddit Top 10 with Professor Mike Brooks, better known as Bullshitting with Brooks.
Take it away, Mike Brooks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go with the Reddit Top 10 stories under the World News subreddit. Number 10, the headline is, Qatar detains 2 Germans who filmed World Cup labor conditions. And this is from The Guardian out in the UK. I don't know if anybody's aware of that, but Qatar is going to host the World Cup. And apparently, like, they're offering, like, you could go to the Craigslist of Qatar, and there's a great job available for you where they're going to put you up, and you're going to make $40,000 in a month, and it's going to be great. And the reality is you fly there from wherever, and you're given slave wages and slave conditions to live in. They won't let you leave. So they've arrested 2 Germans, and that should get some interesting reaction from the German government. Number 10. From USA Today, a meth-like substance has been found in popular workout supplements.
Nice.
And the one that they're really referencing, and I've not seen or heard this one, but I'm not much into supplements like that, is called Craze, a pre-workout powder made by the New York-based Driven Sports Company. I guess there's another one called Detonate that they're finding. I mean, these things are developed in a lab that nobody's overseeing or checking or knows what goes on in. And these people are just, I mean, think Balco and how that type of thing. This is kind of...
Well, just so you know, no supplements that you take from GNC or any place for that matter are FDA tested. None of them.
Yeah.
So...
Or, yeah, I guess they're talking about some sort of DEA certification lab or something like that. But, yeah, so there's no way to be really sure what they're putting in there to validate these claims. Moving on in the countdown. Number 8, research finds that giving money to the poor reduces poverty.
No shit. Moving on.
From the usually reliable scienceblog.com. Yeah, thanks, guys. Number 7, and I do find this one interesting. Radiation experts confirm polonium has been found on the Yasser Arafat's clothing, the former leader of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, who died mysteriously about 10 years ago or so. What they've really found is the same element, polonium-210, highly radioactive substance with a very, very short half-life. The same substance that you used to kill a former KGB agent several years, I don't know, probably about the same time frame. What it is, it could be given in a vial, in a pill form, and slipped into food, whatever. And I guess what happened to the only known case, again, former KGB guy, was going to leak stuff or whatnot. And you can research this further than I could right now. They just basically poisoned him with a radioactive substance that caused such massive cancer that his body just shut down, organ failure on a complete and total level. And that's now they're finding evidence that this Yasser Arafat was assassinated, possibly, allegedly, in a similar fashion, which would beg 1,000 different questions, but the most important one would be, who did it?
Right.
Sure.
Number 6, from our friends at the BBC, nobody wins African prize for good governance for the 4th time in
Jesus.
5 years.
None of you are good.
You're not happening down there. Number 5, the China state media blasts U.S. shutdown, calls for a de-Americanized world, which is kind of important. They're already in the midst of a currency exchange with a European nation, which would give their currency a more valid or validation in the world market, and which would, we're shutting down here and everybody's freaking out around the world about, well, they can't rely on us because we support all these other nations.
Hey, Brooks, are you aware of bit currency?
Oh, I'm absolutely aware of that. Did you know
Bitcoins?
that
Bitcoins?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware that the founder, the Japanese fellow that wrote and developed Bitcoin, has been missing for about 10 years? Nobody's seen or heard of him.
Yeah, I believe he's in the Everglades being hidden by Storm Maverick. So
I think, if he probably he's a smart dude. If you develop a technology like that where you basically created an internet computer-based currency,
and the way they rate it is they rate it off of a $10 an hour job, basically. So it's valued at one Bitcoin, whatever the currency name is, equals $10 basically, right, Brooks?
And I think there's different value levels, but to me, from what I've read of it, it seems like a Bitcoin it fluctuates.
Yes, that's what I
and it fluctuates on the market, say like a stock of General Electric would fluctuate on some sort of market. And what that depends on is how many Bitcoins have people made, because apparently there's a finite limit. They haven't found it yet, but in theory there's a finite limit to this, how many Bitcoins you can make.
Yep. Well, you know what made this super famous was that website Silk Road. Are you guys familiar with the website Silk Road?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I heard about the story recently, and from what I understand, there are some deep, dark corners of the internet that you can buy legitimate. You can buy narcotics.
Yeah, and Silk Road, you can buy grade A everything.
Yes,
drugs,
and have it delivered
right to your home, and you use Bitcoins because they're untraceable. So people were buying it, and the FBI just shut the website down October 2nd of this year. They shut that website down, and I wish I would have known about it sooner.
I know, me too. But apparently, there's my buddy Ruben. When I had actually posted something about that Silk Road thing and said, "How did I not know about this? Because I totally would have used this." And he had responded that you have to use a different way of viewing the internet. And it's through deep cover that you have to cover.
First off, what you do is I looked into it because I watch Drugs Inc. every week. It's on Sunday nights. Great show. And they talked about it on last week's episode. And so I instantly started researching it. Well, then I find out it was shut down. But there's a new one, and it's called Moose something. It's the same fucking concept. What you do is you go to the website first and you sign up. You sign in, you get a login. That it's just like any other website. Then they email you, okay, click here, and now you're logged in. Then you log in. Then you have to download the software to view the website. It's not even it's not a website. It is, but it isn't. Okay? So you download the technology from what they send you back. Then you go back in, and you're basically on a waiting list to get into the website. And I believe they then, on their end, search you to see if you're even a legitimate person to do this. Because you have to get approved then to get on this message board that has every single drug known to man in its highest potency. And the website stands by it. It's no bullshit. When you get this in the mail, it's not bullshit. I saw Molly on this show, Drugs Inc., and the Molly, Ben, remember our Molly looked like pure white, like powder, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
This Molly looked like crystals. It looked nothing like the Molly that you and I consumed. Possibly consumed.
MDMA. I mean, it's
Allegedly. And it
was fucking awesome.
Dude, I don't care if it was fucking acid. This shit was amazing. I never had a better time. I'm not kidding.
Clinical trials of pure MDMA.
In my top 3
soldiers coming back from from Iraq with post traumatic syndrome. for people with depression, they have actual science behind a benefit for MDMA.
It's amazing. Ben and I had it in a really pure form before it got all stepped on by the world we live in. And I'll tell you what, Ben, I know you share this feeling with me. It was one of the greatest concerts I've ever seen and I've seen over like 200 concerts, literally, and just amazing. Ben and I had a blunt and a gram of MDMA, and in a gram you get 10 hits basically. So they call them dippers. You lick your finger, you put it in the bag, you dip it, right? So we were consuming those. We were trying to hold off on the blunt. Well, of course, Ben and we can't really hold off at all. So within an hour, the blunt was gone. And we're standing there and we're like, God, I wish we had some weed. We literally said it out loud. Man, I wish we had some weed. And this dude next to us was like, you guys want some weed? Here. And he just So for the next 2 hours, we watched Incubus perform in like a hazy kind of rain in the middle of the summer. And we had blunts being passed to us by the crowd. And we were tripping our balls off on some of the greatest Molly ever. Ben, am I lying or not? Best concert ever.
Yeah, seriously, I would do it tomorrow if I could.
The same exact thing over, and don't change a thing about it, right? Like the same
I would
concert.
do it tomorrow, and I would quit work to do it.
Right, and it was Incubus' greatest hits. It wasn't like their album. It was the greatest hits of Incubus on Molly with free weed.
In a light rain.
Yeah, in a light rain, in like 90-degree night, in a perfect environment. Perfect.
I have a friend that has a very similar experience that happened to him at a Tool concert in Moline, Illinois.
I was there for that too.
My friend tells me it was a pretty religious moment in his life.
Your friend. Do you care to expand on your friend's experience?
I think he had, it was mushrooms. He had a bag of some really well tested and trusted mushrooms, and I guess the story goes they went and saw a double shot of Tool in Ames, Iowa, and then drove east to see him in Moline. So
wasn't there a shitty opener for that too?
I'm sorry.
Wasn't there a shitty opener for that? Weren't you guys?
We're actually pretty good. What's I know the name and I don't know it right off.
Was that Tomahawk?
Meshuggah.
Oh,
no, I thought there was like a real another band, like a legitimate band that opened for them.
Meshuggah opened, and it's a Swedish like prog death metal band. It's some really dense stuff, and I'm a guy who likes like some heavy stuff, but it's really dense to listen to. And so my friend, he was the DD for the first concert with the full knowledge that everybody was going to be cool with him just completely going out of his mind on the next night.
Great DD.
And, what's that?
That's a great DD.
Yeah. And
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that night he in a pretty, I guess, empty arena had a perfect chance to just kind of sit and be like not bothered by too many people other than some very close friends, and just straight on. Like, I guess he had the best seats just because he saw everything he wanted to see and had plenty of room to spread out, and I guess had a fantastic time on these mushrooms.
It was
nice.
awesome.
Well, hey guys, we're 3 minutes and 35 seconds out from being done. You know what? I think the Reddit Brooks deal needs to be in the first hour because we can always expand on all these topics. Agreed, gentlemen? What do we think?
Live and learn. We will provide better time.
Maybe coming out.
With Brooks is a first hour deal.
Yeah, maybe coming out of the green hits and repack, we go to the Reddit top 10 because there's always. I love this segment. I think we can really expand on what this segment is. So.
Let me just ramble off the top 10.
Please do.
Incomplete if we didn't do that. Number 4 from CBC.ca, the NSA backlash sparks new technology, anti-surveillance technology created in light of NSA expose. So, of course, people are going to be pissed and start developing something that they can't crack, and then they'll crack it, and it'll just keep going on. Number 3, not a single byte should leave Germany, BYTE. Communication giants put forward plan to combat NSA spies with German-only network hubs, basically keeping all internet traffic from German citizens in Germany that couldn't be technically couldn't be read by.
Is that important, Brooks?
What you're seeing is an absolute backlash from not only now the governments that are pissed that the United States has been spying on them without under the table spying, and now you're seeing a lash out from the corporate side of technology, where there's going to be cloud companies that will no longer use American storage companies like that. They will, because they know their data is being mined.
Well, how do they get around it though? Isn't it so overpowered? How do they get around it?
Yeah, they just develop a new way. There's always like going to be another way to secure your information that'll have to be cracked. This goes back to like code cracking in World War II and all that kind of stuff. Somebody's going to find a way to encode something. The NSA can't do it, and then 5 years later somebody does. Or it's just the way this is going to work out.
2 minutes and 40 seconds.
What's that?
2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Okay, number 2. This is coming from dawn.com. I'm not sure of that website, and I'm not sure of the story because I haven't read it, but it feel the same way. This is from the Grand Islamic Cleric at the annual Hajjaz pilgrimage into Mecca. Quote, Islam does not allow terrorism at any cost. Islam condemns all violence and terrorism plaguing the world today. Muslims should demonstrate a love for peace and unity. That's what every religion should state and act on. So that's a no-brainer for this show. And number 1 on your Reddit Top 10 World News subreddit list, a Somali pirate warlord lured to Brussels Airport, Belgium, under the pretext he was signing a movie deal about his life. He came and got arrested.
Wah,
wah.
Yeah.
We're up against it. It was nice to know you. We'll get it in, and we will see you guys.
Well,
next week.
here's the deal. We have a minute 45. Anything else? Do you want to expand on that, or is that where we're at? You want to play the song?
You know what? I think it's interesting.
We gotta play the song.
We do have to play the song every time? Every time.
All right, I'm outvoted.
I don't care. I like Incubus. It's fine. You could play it on the way out. We could just fade into it and talk over it for a little bit.
Talk over it, Brooks.
Yeah, let's talk over it. I don't know. I don't agree with the top 10 list right now, but by far it's upvoted more than anything else. I really think that the 2 stories that stand out to me would be the China state media, because that's the state media. That's the government-controlled media. Like, completely saying, like, hey, let's just kind of back off of American things. And that would be devastating to our way of life right now. And the other one that I really think is important is the radiation thing with Yasser Arafat. I mean, that's just plain evidence that people are being assassinated in all kinds of awful and terrible ways, and nobody's really sure what's going on and who's doing it, but it's still happening. So I think those two stories should have been placed a little bit higher.
Yeah, right. I mean, the pirate
Brooks nailing it. Bullshitting with Brooks. We will put it first hour. It's that fucking good.
Yeah.
First hour next week.
First hour him, and then third hour always Storm Maverick. But I think putting those two, like it's like Hogan and Warrior in the same hour. It's just not possible unless they're fighting each other. So
I don't want to fight. I want to make sure Storm Maverick gets that check for $37.23 of whatever the hell it's going to be after 10 shows.
10 seconds. Brooks, send us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, think for yourselves and question authority.